Should we call him right now?
Yeah, let's give him a call.
Let's ask him where his next place is.
Let's see if he's
and I'm just going to hang up on him. On today's Pardon My Take, we have our good friend Kirk Herbstreit on the show talking college football. We're going to talk a little Monday Night Football, hot seat, cool throne, guys on chicks back, great Wednesday show. Memes' mic is on right now, and it's all brought to you by our friends at Chevy. There's a new family with unstoppable grit, and they are the official partners of the Pardon My Take family, and that is the Chevy Silverado ZR2 family. The first ever Silverado heavy-duty ZR2 joins the franchise to make Chevy ZR2 the only truck brand with a full lineup of trucks ready for wherever your off-road adventures take you. With exclusive Multimatic DSSV dampers, rugged mud terrain tires, and up to 14 available camera views, the Chevy Silverado ZR2 and Silverado HD ZR2, a family with commanding and unstoppable grit. Head to Chevy.com, check out the Chevy Silverado and the family of Chevy ZR2s, the official trucks of Pardon My Take. We are a Chevy podcast. We love Chevy. If you're thinking about becoming a truck person, Chevy is the place. Go right now to Chevy.com and check out the new family of Chevy Silverado, family of Chevy ZR2s, the official trucks of Pardon My Take. Okay, let's go. Welcome to Pardon My Take. Today is Wednesday, November 29th, and the Bears might be back, PFT.
Yeah, their defense is back. I wish I loved anything as much as Matt Eberflus loves throwing tunnel screens.
Well, yeah, Luke Getsy.
Luke Getsy
loves throwing tunnel screens. Monday Night Football was an abomination of football. Did it? Now, I'm biased.
It was nice.
I was watching the Bears, but did it become – was it so bad it became fun? At any point?
It was fun because you don't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
You didn't know how the ball was going to get turned over next, what the Bears were going to do on offense to squander great field position.
Yep.
It was a great pass at the end of the game.
Yes.
Like, he threw the pass when it counted, so Justin Fields has to be happy about that. But I was addicted to just looking at Justin Fields' passing charts after the game, and it was just green dots directly to the side, nothing across the middle whatsoever. They say that they have confidence in him as a quarterback. You should let him throw the ball to the middle of the field.
Yes.
Once in a while.
Yes. And some of it is on Justin Fields because there are times where it feels like he maybe holds on to the ball too long, and we've talked at length about his dropbacks being a little slower than everyone else's. But overall, and this is – so I've struggled with this because and you correctly called me out last week about being in this same spot again this year where it's like, oh, losses are good. We're in Groundhog's Day. I'm actually happy they won. I know that you're happy they won.
I am.
Hank, you're happy they won.
Yep.
I'm happy they won because the Bears might finally be done like in the total tank off and start actually playing some decent football. They're 4-4 in their last 8. Their defense looks awesome. Montez Sweat, for the people who laughed at that trade, I think it was just general like knee-jerk reaction because the Chase Claypool thing. The defense is flying around playing great. The offense has dudes. DJ Moore is awesome. Cole Kmet is good. We can talk about Justin Fields and what that means, but for the first time in a very long time, I'm optimistic about the Chicago Bears and where they're headed because I think you can build off of what they've done defensively. And Ryan Poles brought in like Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards and all these guys that are playing well, and a really good draft pick with Darnell Wright. I don't know what's going to happen with Eberflus. I think he should still be fired, but I am for the first time in a long time like, hey, the Bears actually we're no longer just like a million pieces away. We're a few pieces away from being a good football team.
Yeah, the defense is
quarterback might be one of the biggest.
The defense is really, really good. I think that's not a fluke. And if you watch the camera on Ryan Poles throughout the game, there's no way for him to know when the camera's on him. Somebody should let him know when they're focusing on him on the main broadcast because he was like just shaking his head like, I can't believe this shit. But then after the game, they won, and he looked like the happiest person on earth.
Yes.
They kind of unleashed it at the end, just enough to make it count. I agree that Sweat is an impact maker on defense. I told you he was better than Chase Young.
No, you were not one of those people. It was more I get it. And when you root for a bad franchise, you become the butt of a lot of jokes. People were like, why would they do this? Why not just sign him in free agency? It's like, well, you don't know if he's going to sign in free agency. You don't know what the price is going to be. Ryan Poles was aggressive. He got a impact player that's going to be very good and signed him long term.
What I don't want to have happen is for all of us to turn on Josh Dobbs. Because it feels like we're starting to have the conversation. I've heard a lot of people talk about like, well, maybe this is why Josh Dobbs has been on so many teams in the last 3 years. Now, he had a bad game last night. Very bad game last night.
Very bad game.
I still want Josh Dobbs around. I'm not going to forget what Josh Dobbs did for America this season, taking just dog shit Cardinals games and making them entertaining for us. That time where he filled in for Kirk Cousins on like 2 days, or not Kirk Cousins, backup. Came in on like 2 days' notice, didn't know the receivers' names. I'm willing to overlook a bad game or two from Josh Dobbs and just trust the process with him and just know that, yeah, he's probably not a long-term situational starter for anybody, but Josh Dobbs still has a place in this NFL and he's good enough to play.
Yeah, he maybe should just not learn the playbook. Because we talked about this when he went to Minnesota and played well in the first couple games. And when he was in Arizona, he had been signed to the Cardinals like 2 weeks before the season started and played well in September. Maybe it's just learning the playbook is too much.
What's the name of that learning curve where I think it might just be called the learning curve? But if you start at a new job, sometimes you're really good at the start because you don't know anything.
Right.
So you ask a lot of questions. And then you think you know everything.
You just play free football.
So after you think you know everything, then you get bad. And then you get good again once you do actually know everything.
So we need to find him getting good again.
We need to just keep him playing football in the NFL until he gets good again.
Yes, I like that. And the Vikings, that was a bad loss to the Vikings because now you have the Packers and Rams breathing down their throat.
Great loss for the Lions, though.
Great loss for the Lions. Lions have to play the Bears next week after the bye week.
Was this Eberflus's first divisional win?
It took 30 weeks, 30 regular season weeks for the Eberflus-Poles combo to make good on their guarantee. Ryan Poles in his introductory press conference said, we're going to take the North and we're never going to give it back.
Mm-hmm. This is the start.
This is the start.
This is day one.
I know people will shit on me for being optimistic here, but I really do feel like the first time like I can see everything that Poles is doing and the defense, building on the defense and having a true number one wide receiver, having a true number one tight end, having a really good Darnell Wright, like it does still all come down to what they want to do with Justin Fields. And I guess I'm open to whatever the next coach, hopefully the next coach, decides because I've talked myself into maybe doing Marvin Harrison in offensive lineman and seeing if you could get Justin Fields to take another step forward. Or if the new coach comes in and says we need a quarterback, all right, draft your quarterback. But they have, it comes back to the fact that for the first time in a long time, the Bears don't feel they're like 3 or 4 guys away, not 15 guys away.
I think, and it all depends on where the Panthers finish up. It looks like you're probably going to have the first overall pick.
That's the part that I don't care about winning because like we have that in our back pocket.
If you have the first overall pick, I think the move is probably to try to trade Justin Fields. And how many years does he have left?
He's 2, I believe.
2. So see what you can get for him.
Decide on his option at the end of next year.
Decide on it, and then see what you can get for him. And then I think the new coach is going to probably want to go in a different direction.
I also was very happy for Justin Fields because his defense has let him down a lot. Last year, there was a lot of games where he played okay and the defense gave up like 30 points. So it was nice to have a reversal where the fumble was bad, very bad. I think we all expected it to happen. And then the defense bowed up and they were able to win the game.
At the very
it's
end
weird
of the
to
game,
think like this is the first time in a year and a half where I'm like, yeah, I'm actually happy because for culture-wise, I know that tanking helps the draft pick, but at some point you have to win so that you just can start to shed the loser culture.
You know what would be great, though, if somehow a coach was so good at tanking that they drew up specific plays and designed interceptions.
Yeah.
And so the play is, all right, you're going to hit this DB.
Well, Josh Dobbs
route.
was doing that last night.
Yeah, so you got to hit this guy on this route, and then that's going to give him a better chance to return for 6 and see how well you can execute on your intentionally bad plays. That's next level shit. I don't think the NFL is ready for it yet. If at the very end of the game, was your butthole just like a little bit tight when they start
kick?
When they start throwing the ball back and forth, back and forth, back.
Oh,
and forth,
yeah.
Until they threw the flag for illegal forward pass. I was thinking like, kind of like when we watched the Jets on Black Friday.
Yeah.
This could happen to the Bears.
Yeah.
If it's going to happen to a team, it could happen to the Bears.
I don't get nervous till they're on like the 40, the opposing 40.
Yeah.
So they got to about midfield. But yeah, I know people are going to be like, what the fuck? Why are you being optimistic? I'm optimistic about the Bears. For the first time in a long time, I can see that the pieces are starting to come into place, and Ryan Poles is doing a good job. He's brought in some good free agents, trades, all that stuff.
They also look like they're happy with each other in the locker room. Like they're honestly, I think they like each other, which is sometimes when you go through a season like this where you lose a lot, especially early on, you just start to like not be that pumped about coming to work. Like I've seen that before.
And the one thing I'm nervous about is the Bears' schedule at the end of the season is not that hard. We have the Lions next week or after the bye week at home. And then, obviously, at Browns defense is really good, but we don't know who's going to be playing quarterback. Cardinals, Falcons, at Packers. Like, Matt Eberflus might be able to keep his job, which that scares me. I really want him to just be demoted to D.C.
I don't think he is.
He's a really good defensive coordinator. He's doing stuff that Alan Williams never dreamt of doing. Like, he is coaching this defense to be – they're significantly better the last, month and a half. But, yeah, that's my only concern. It's really comes down to this. The Bears have all the options in front of them. I can see all the pieces. I'm very optimistic. Now you have to execute and make the right decisions, which we all know that could blow up in our face.
It could. And don't get me wrong, it was a shitty game.
It was terrible.
It was a really bad game.
No, the Bears should have won by 21.
You have a right to be optimistic about the future, but for most of America watching that, it was bad. It was so bad that Troy just started laughing in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the offense was bad.
I think they threw another 3-yard loss on a screenplay to a wide receiver, and Troy was he didn't have any commentary. He probably just wanted to reach out to the telestrator and draw the dick and balls on it because it was laughably bad offense from the Bears for a very long time. And they did enough to win. Great, good for the Bears. I'm happy for the Bears. I'm happy that I think you guys are actually ahead of us. I miscalculated that because the first tiebreaker is not head-to-head.
No, it's
tiebreaker
who you play.
Is strength of schedule.
Yes.
So you guys are ahead of us by just a little bit. Who do you have on Sunday?
We have a bye week.
Bye week, okay.
Yeah,
we have the Dolphins, so we're going to lose.
Right now, the Patriots are the third pick, the Bears are the fourth pick, and the Commanders are the fifth pick.
Okay.
Ugh. Love it. Look at us.
Also,
who would have thought?
However,
look at us.
If you look at the top,
look at us, Hank.
Maybe we'll go to the combine this year and actually scout.
Yeah, projecting cap space for next year. I think that's the order that it's in too. I think we're the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, if you're buying,
look at us.
If you're buying stock, you should be buying stock in our fandom right now. This room is about to become winners in 3 to 5 years.
I use our good friend Tom Fernelli as a safe space sounding board for a lot of stuff because we're both Bears fans working sports media. We were saying maybe playoffs next year, so it's scary. But yeah, I'm having one good victory Tuesday.
What's your record right now?
We're 4-8.
Why not playoffs this year?
4-4 in the last 8.
You're in the hunt.
Yeah, I don't think playoffs this year. I don't think that's going to happen.
You're in the hunt. I'm just trying to talk you into it.
Also, I
afraid to fall
I told my son that we won the game, and he was actually very excited. So tanking, maybe not. And then he got me back by asking to listen to Taylor Swift on the car ride to school.
He's got good taste.
I think he's doing that to troll me.
You got to separate the art from the artist with Taylor Swift. Great musician, terrible human being.
No, we banged out some Taylor Swift. I turned it on. I'm not a monster. I was like, let's listen to some Taylor Swift. All right. Good news for the Vikings. Justin Jefferson is back, right? I got a Schefter notification about him.
Oh, I might have missed that one.
This was his last week to be on the IR.
Okay.
Jordan Addison looked good again last night for the most part.
Except for, that was more Josh Dobbs throwing him out of bounds.
Yeah, that should have been a touchdown.
That was a crazy play. Yeah, he's activated. Okay. And then also Aaron Rodgers said that anyone who says that he made up his injury can go fuck themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do that several times a day.
Mm-hmm. So any other NFL stuff before we talk a little college ball?
Yeah, Bryce Young got the dreaded vote of confidence from his owner. So David Tepper gave a big press conference today, answered questions. They asked him about the choice to draft Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud, and he made sure to say several times this was unanimous. Everybody in the room said it's unanimous. Sounds like he's trying to get out in front of the story that Frank Reich is probably going to say, which is he's going to say I want C.J. Stroud. That's a classic former coach move. But Tepper made sure to say several times it was unanimous. We all agreed on this. Do you remember that? I think it was in Independence Day when they decided to nuke the United States because of all the aliens.
Yeah.
Where the president was like, I need everybody to be unanimous about this because this is what I want to do. And I don't want somebody going to the press later. I think that's what Tepper was saying during the draft process. Like, we have to be all in on Bryce Young. So you tell me that you're all in right now, Frank.
Yeah.
Frank was like, sir, yes, sir, I'm all in.
So we should say, what was the guy's name, the reporter? He's now officially off the hot seat. Kunkel, who his wife is an AWL.
Yep.
So he tweeted us and was like, my wife was very happy to hear my name getting said, even though it's a fake name, Kunkel.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, he is off the hot seat because he reported that Frank Reich's seat was on fire, and we said that if he doesn't get fired on Monday, then Kunkel's on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Kunkel, you're on the cool throne.
Cool throne for sure.
Yeah, but David Tepper is, I mean, he's so quickly become the worst owner. I don't know. I mean, Dan Snyder leaving helped.
Yeah, it helped out a whole lot. I mean, the Bears owner.
Yeah, although they're like,
but they're not like cartoon supervillain.
Yeah, they're passively bad. He's aggressively bad.
Yeah,
where like he's doing too much.
There's the problem.
There's a lot of owners that like you're like, hey, could you do maybe a more or hire the right people? He's like, I'm gonna just fix all these problems by micromanaging and firing people.
I'm gonna run the team myself.
Yeah.
Frank Reich. Congratulations to Frank Reich. He's now double dipping on buyouts. Good for him.
Back-to-back years, gets fired mid-season.
He's getting money from Mr. Irsay as well as Mr. Tepper right now. I heard a little rumor, Max. Maybe you can address this. Frank Reich, who do you used to be the offensive coordinator for?
Eagles.
Yeah. What about him going? Is he coming home?
I would.
Another set of eyes.
Right now, it's looking like Johnson's going to be a top candidate for a head coach in the offseason. I would have no problem with Frank Reich coming home, being an OC for the Birds.
I could see them bringing him in for the rest of the season as like an offensive consultant. They like doing that. Just get another guy in the building.
No, not now.
You don't think so?
Not now. He could come in the building now.
Yeah.
I take it back. He can come in now.
Or
he won a Super Bowl.
Send him out to L.A., reunite him with Carson Wentz. Recreate some of that magic.
Nah, I'll take him.
Chris Tabor's their interim head coach, he has coached a game when Matt Nagy got COVID in 2021. He coached one game for the Bears.
Who could forget?
Yeah, so he is their interim. I'm gonna have to decide if he can get a little dead coach bounce for them.
I kind of.
They might just be bad.
I kind of like David Tepper though, just in the.
Well, yeah, because he's not our owner.
He's not our owner.
Yeah, right.
He's fun to talk about and he's fun to observe. I was lucky enough to have dinner with him in Cabo on Valentine's Day this year. I don't know if I told you guys that.
What?
Yeah, he was sitting at the table directly next to mine at the resort. How do I say this diplomatically? His wife really likes Pinot Grigio a lot, a whole lot.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, a lot.
Damn, vacationing with billionaires.
She had a great time.
Yeah,
I'm not on any flight.
What happened after?
We all went back to the suite, had a good time.
He does kind of rule in the fact that like super rich guys that get everything they want for their entire life then get to a point where what they've done doesn't work anymore is very fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just going to do the same thing I've done all my life because that's why I'm rich. It's like, well, the NFL works a little different, buddy.
It's everyone else's problem.
Right.
It's not mine.
Right. Exactly. All right. Anything else in NFL? We'll do some college. We have a Herbstreit on, so we're going to do a bunch of college with him.
I think we can get into it more on Friday's show, but I just want to say, Max, I feel disrespected for the Eagles because now I think they're 3-point underdogs.
2.5.
No, I think it moved.
It moved?
Yeah, I think it moved to 3 earlier today. So I think it jumped up to 3. I still think that the 49ers might win this game, but this is actually giving Sirianni all the ammunition that he could ever need. He's perpetually looking for a way to call himself an underdog, as most coaches are. But this is gold for him.
Yeah.
He's going to be blasting Rocky.
Damn,
all the
Max.
guys.
You guys must suck. 3-point underdogs at home.
What's your record, Max?
That'd be 10-1.
Yeah.
10-1.
Well, the Niners are better than that, right?
Nope.
Weird.
I bet the Niners are -1.
What do you mean they're -1?
I bet them at -1 on Sunday night.
You just keep making up lines.
I'll show you my bet
Bosco?
slip. You want to see my bet slip? Here.
-1? When was it at
Come here,
-1?
Hank. Come here. Hey, come
I
here.
believe you.
Come here. Yeah, I know you believe me, but come look and confirm. So that Max, yet again, loser Max and his loser excuses can fucking shut up. Look at that right there. Is that not -1?
-1?
That's -1.
All right, fine. You're just a Birds hater now. You know what it is? You're upset that you didn't place your future earlier because you had this whole plan that the Eagles were going to lose all these games
My plan
during
is
this
still
gauntlet.
going to work. My plan is still going to
The Eagles
work.
were going to lose all these games during this gauntlet, and then you were going to hop on, and it's not going to plan.
It's still going to work. It's still going to work. All right,
That's what it is.
Yeah,
I
of
just
course
saw
it
in your
is. Of
face.
course it is. No duh. No duh. All right, let's do a little college football, and then we'll do hot seat, cool throne. We're brought to you by our friends at Grammarly. When it comes to writing, Grammarly is there to support you from start to finish. For over 10 years, Grammarly has been powered by AI technology you can trust to help you across all the places where you write the most. So when you're stuck with writing at work, Grammarly can help you get started with ideas, outlines, and even tips if you need to polish your writing. Grammarly can help paraphrase and rewrite to be more concise instantly. Simply select the text that you want to rewrite and give Grammarly a prompt. Need to draft an important email and don't know where to start? Grammarly has suggestions to jumpstart your writing. This is great. Writer's block is real. Grammarly is there to help you. The best part is it's free to use. So start being more productive at work. Go to Grammarly.com/podcast to download for free today. That's Grammarly.com/podcast today. Grammarly.com/podcast to download for free today. This is a great product because there's many times where I don't write an email because I'm just like, I don't want to start the email. Have someone start it for you. Go to Grammarly. Grammarly.com/podcast. Okay. Quick college football because we do talk with Herbie about a lot of it. One thing we didn't talk to him about, though, I actually think this might be the worst loss for a fan base ever in Ohio State.
Okay.
So hear me out. They had an opportunity on Saturday to essentially erase 3 years of Michigan football and go like back to when Ohio State, I think there was a stretch from 2003 or whatever to 2021 where they had won every single time except for like 2. If they had won on Saturday, they could have all gone around and said, the only reason you beat us was because you cheated, and the minute you couldn't cheat anymore, all the normalcy has been restored in the world, and we're better than you, and it's just a blip on the radar, you cheaters. Now Michigan, with their backup, with their interim head coach, Sherrone Moore, who called a great game, gets to be like, you guys cried, you bitched, you moaned, you started investigations, and we still just ran the ball down your throat.
I think you might be right because, you're always looking for an excuse when you lose a rivalry game like that. And you had a built-in one saying, like, okay, it was all done like cloak and dagger shit behind the scenes. You can't beat us man on man. Sherrone Moore, I think, here's a take. Sherrone Moore, by being like a step head coach that only visits on weekends, he was actually in a better position than Ryan Day was because Moore, he can like let his freak flag fly.
Yeah.
And doesn't really have to worry about, okay, well, I have to be a Michigan head coach that beats Ohio State.
Yeah.
He's just there like kind of keeping the seat warm for Jim when he comes back.
Although he might be the guy in next year.
He could go
Jim
for
Harbaugh
it.
leaves.
He could go for it when he wanted to. He made some really aggressive calls. And Ohio State, Ryan Day, I don't think Ohio State played a bad game at all. I thought Ohio State played a pretty good game overall.
Agreed.
It was just a good game of football. And the funniest part of the game, I don't know if you caught this. I'm a bit of a flyboy, so I saw during the flyover before the game, you see the plane that they flew over.
Yes.
It looked like it was a Delta Airlines flight. It was like not your standard B-2, F-22, F-18, F-16. I can keep going. But it was a Poseidon. And a Poseidon is a spy airplane. It's a dedicated spy espionage surveillance airplane that they flew over the stadium. That has to be the most expensive troll of all time.
Yes.
Right?
Michigan can do it.
And they can do it.
Stephen Ross probably just wrote the check.
And it worked. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Harbaugh was in there.
Yeah.
Like put him in some fatigues, strap a parachute on him. But
we should.
I think that's the most expensive troll.
Yeah. And it really is. Ohio State, it's almost like, I think, is Skins game in golf. When the hole, like if you have a hole, it counts as
Carries
two the next
over.
one.
Yep.
That was a Skins game in football. They basically could have won 3 games.
Yeah.
In one.
Yeah, they could have retroactively.
Yeah, and Ryan Day, I agree with you. Ohio State wasn't like the last 2 years where Michigan was like, we're just more physical than you. We're tougher than you. We kick the shit out of you. This was a very even game. It just came down to Ryan Day being a little too conservative in a couple moments that, like the end of half, when he was like, hey, let's have our kicker who's never kicked this far in a rivalry game in cold weather try the longest kick ever instead of trying to get a few more yards.
Did he make the first one, though?
He did. Which I think is always a stupid thing to do.
To follow through?
Yeah.
As a kicker, I would always like a warm-up shot, though.
But once you make it once, you're just like,
you lose it.
Can I do that again?
Yeah, it's like Trump's theory of your body being a battery. And so once you lose that, it's gone forever.
Yes.
That's one less made kick that you'll ever have in your entire life.
Yes.
You make a chip shot in practice. It was weird at the end of the half. If I were the kicker, I would definitely take that shot. But it worked. Icing the kicker works. People forget that. Like, there's studies out there that have shown that on long field goals, icing the kicker is actually, like, you can prove that it's 5%, 10% better, depending on the kicker, obviously. But I want to stand up real quick for the big house. The big house gets slandered sometimes.
Well, it
because
doesn't.
of the way it's designed.
Yeah, it's great for this game. It gets loud for this game.
It was so fucking.
Yeah.
I was expecting, like, I've watched many games played at Michigan before, and I've never thought to myself, it's actually not that loud on the field. It always seems loud on the field to me. I just think that it could be even louder.
Yeah,
That's
no,
the
it
thing.
could.
There's no, like, disrespect to it. It's very, very loud, but you could do a whole lot better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been to, probably 4 or 5 games at the Big House. It's an insane stadium. Like, it's impressive just the size, and it's also very cool because you walk in, like, basically halfway up, so it's, like, sunken. So when you walk in, you're walking in on the street level, you're like 70 rows up or whatever it is. So it's very cool. But yeah, the way it's set up is the sound kind of escapes. But that game, it was so loud.
Yeah, it was great.
And going on the field after, it was a great college football Saturday. We had the Iron Bowl, which was just insane, which we talked to Herbie about. The one thing we didn't talk to him about, the Apple Cup was awesome. And Kalen DeBoer, that 4th down call where he did the trick play on his own, like, 20, the balls on that, like, your entire season is on the line right there. And he's like, yeah, this is when I got this play, which was like, it was like a fake handoff pitch outside that went for like 40 yards. That was a great game. And in Washington, they are kind of like TCU last year. They just find a way to win these games.
Yeah, the Apple Cup is a very underrated rivalry too.
Yeah,
I think, like, unless
they're gonna keep playing it,
unless you're from the Northwest, you don't understand just, like, how much those two fan bases hate each other. It's bad. It's bad. It's almost like SEC level on that game day. They're, like, at each other's throats. So I am glad. Would they extend 5 years?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that at least they got something right.
Yeah.
With all the realignment, like, keep some of these traditions. Also, we had our first Arch Manning sighting.
Yes.
In Texas. They beat the fuck out of Texas
Tech. Yes.
It was a whomping. I forget how many they won by. I think they were up by 50 at the time.
57-7.
57-7. Won by 50. Arch Manning gets in. I think at the end of the third quarter is when they put him in the game. And I have a take about Arch Manning. Are you ready for this? Because you have to have a take about Arch Manning. I think I figured out what mine's going to be early. I think Arch Manning might be too good of a quarterback. I don't think that there are receivers out there that are good enough to play with Arch Manning. He had 2 touchdown passes, I think it was on his first drive, that were just fucking laser beams right on their hands. Bounced off their hands. It reminded
too good of a ball?
Yeah, too good of a ball. I don't think maybe Josh McDaniels, offensive genius, who's just too advanced for the modern day NFL.
Yeah.
Maybe he could figure out a way to get Arch Manning quarterback in the future.
Take.
But you remember when we were watching March Madness and Marquise Noel?
Yeah.
He's throwing those passes between his legs behind the back.
Surprising his guys.
The ball was going out of bounds. I think Arch is up to those kind of tricks. I think he's too good at playing quarterback.
I like that.
He's so good that he sucks.
I like that. Yeah, Arch Manning, let's get him in the game.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a lot more college football talk. Don't be upset that we're not doing everything because we're going to get through all the playoff iterations and everything with Kirk Herbstreit. That was a great Saturday. That was just a great college football Saturday where it's just all these rivalry games, chaos everywhere, and we still haven't had the big chaos, which maybe happens this championship Saturday. Like, it just hasn't – it feels like we're always right there, and we haven't had the, oh, man, like now everything's flipped up.
I'm rooting for chaos.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm rooting for them to have to admit that games don't matter, which is what they're going to admit. I think games matter, but I think they're going to I want them to have to just like put in Alabama over Texas, and then the whole farce of it be like games don't matter. No one should schedule anyone.
Yeah, so we talked to Herbie about it, but the whole Florida State thing, I had an aha moment this morning when I woke up and I was like, wait a second. Like they want to have big names in this playoff, and right now Florida State, even though they are a big name traditionally, they don't have the same buzz as like a Texas would have. So I'm just thinking that Florida State will get fucked. Unless if Florida State wins by like 40 points, then they'll
Cardell Jones.
Then they'll get in. Yeah.
Cardell Jones.
Then they'll get in. But if you're a Seminole fan, like I'm sorry, but I think you're about to get fucked.
I don't think so. Games have to matter. They have to matter. But yeah, we'll do an extended conversation with Herbie in a minute about that. Let's do Hot Seat Cool Throne. It's brought to you by our friends at Coors Light. Fall doesn't have to be a buzzkill. Coors Light helps you find moments to unwind. Big work presentation, follow it with a happy hour, some friends, and a cold Coors Light. Weekend chores, take Saturday off and hit the tailgate. Even if you don't have tickets to the game, whenever you need to hit reset, reach for a Coors Light. It's made to chill. There's only one beer out there that's literally made to chill, and that's Coors Light. The mountains on the bottles and cans even turn blue when your beer is cold. That way you always know when it's time to chill. When you hit reset, just open a Coors Light. It's mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Coors Light is the one I choose when I need to unwind, so when you want to hit reset, reach for the beer that's made to chill. Grab a Coors Light. Coors Light, our favorite beer in the world. Coors Light is also the coldest beer in the world. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/take. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And go enjoy a nice cold Coors Light. Perfect. Holiday season. This is the stretch of the year where you can just have a nice cold Coors Light on a Tuesday night. No problem. It's holiday season. It's holiday cheer. All right, Hank.
My hot seat is Sports Illustrated.
Oh yeah. I had that too, Hank.
Do it.
Sad day for journalism.
Let's do it. Let's get into it.
Love stealing our hot seats.
Tragic day for journalism. I mean, the biggest magazine in our lives, my life growing up, was Sports Illustrated. That was the premier place for sports articles. Read the back page. They got caught for hiring an AI firm to not only write fake articles, but they made fake AI looking headshots for the fake writers.
Yeah.
So that the articles would appear real. They got called out for it, deleted all the articles, and then released a statement on X closing all the comments. So they basically were like, we hired a third-party website. We didn't know what they were doing. We have a process. We were in the middle of checking this out when this came to light, and so we've taken them down, trying to take no blame for it. But it was clear that they just tried to outsource everything to AI.
This makes me question everything now.
Yeah.
Was Rick Riley a real person? Was Peter King a real person?
Yeah, it was funny watching a bunch of the Sports Illustrated people be like, I actually was a real person.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced that Peter King's real. I actually think Peter King is fake.
I'd agree.
Peter he's not real. He's AI. You know what their business model was for the last like 3 years? It was basically like, look at this funny tweet. So they would just like find a funny tweet from like a player, and then the headline would be like, you won't believe what Shaq just tweeted. And then it would just be a screenshot of the tweet. And I'm pretty sure all those were written by just AI, just robots.
So I don't fully understand AI. I did see that like AI singer.
Oh, she sucks.
Sucks.
She's awful.
That was actually my first moment where it was like, everyone who's getting upset about AI, no. AI sucks.
Nothing to worry about.
We beat AI. I think AI it would be funny if AI's only body that it ever caught was Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
Like if you told like 13-year-old PFT and Big Cat when you're sitting on the shitter reading Rick Riley back page, you're like, the future's going to be scary. Sports Illustrated is going to be run by robots. Like, that's it?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take that trade.
Yeah.
Also, I feel very secure in my job. I don't think that we would ever be able to take it over by AI. Do you think there's no AI?
No, we could.
No, there's no AI that's stupid enough to have the same discussions that we have.
How would they get it? How would they get things wrong all the time? Like, don't computers get things right?
Yeah. Can you imagine an AI having a debate about whether or not the moon
one of the
is
lines?
good?
Yeah.
It couldn't happen.
Bad takes.
We have the voice stuff.
Just be very wrong about things.
I think we're close to the
No, I think
Terminator,
you're being a
Extinction.
No, you know what?
Matrix and Terminator all one movie.
I think
we're getting very close to
the
the AI is here. Everyone thinks it's bad, But the second that it fixes itself and gets good, we're fucked.
Okay,
and then it's over.
You're being a mouthpiece for big AI because I actually think
No, I'm anti-AI.
No,
I just
no,
think
no,
we need
but-
to. I think we
Listen.
need to accept that it's a threat, and
listen,
I don't think there's anything we can do honestly at
Hank,
this point. But.
that's why you're being a mouthpiece for it. I agree with our friend Jay Caspian Kang on this. He is of the mindset, and I agree with him 100%, that the people who are being terrified about AI and all this buzz about AI like taking over everyone's job, taking over the world, that's marketing. That the AI people are trying to get out there to build buzz about AI.
It's
Make
also
you think it's advanced.
It's also one of those situations where you have to ask yourself, are we too online? The answer is always yes. Do regular people think about AI? Are they like having
They're gonna be the first ones.
But like it's a big fucking world out there. I feel like this is one of those debates that happens on Twitter, and we have to take a step back and be like, whoa, we're way too online. Like, who cares?
I think AI
we should care.
AI is definitely coming for like the trucking industry first, and then the truckers aren't going to put up with that shit. They're just going to park their big rigs on the highways and be like,
Yeah, the truckers will
come and
figure
take
it out for us.
Truckers always save us. Shout out truckers.
By the way, you mentioned our friend Jay Caspian King. He had a really good point about the Auburn loss in the Iron Bowl.
Okay.
He said, devastating for Auburn fans. Only comparable thing I can think of is when Coach K brought 80-plus former players to Cameron for his last game and lost to Carolina, and then apologized to the crowd and said they would finish the season strong, and then they lost again in the Final Four.
Yeah. I like that.
That is really the only thing comparable.
I liked it.
I think I might change his hurt or injured board to just how like shows since Big Cat's shoehorned Coach K into it.
It was he
Zero.
said Jay Caspian King. I saw a tweet that was very funny that I retweeted.
I basically said that.
That was PFT's fault.
Yeah, it was my fault.
He brought up Jay Caspian King.
On my other hot seat, not AI, I think I got a computer virus. So if you get any emails or anything,
Whoa. What happened?
I was.
You can't just be like, blah, 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 got a computer virus. PFT, what's your hot seat?
How'd you get it, Hank?
I was downloading I was making editing a video, and I was downloading a song from YouTube to MP3 classic.
Yep.
And I got hit with the fake download button.
Oh.
I hit that, and it opened up, and then I wasn't paying attention. I got an allow or decline screen for like, I thought it was to get the download, so I clicked allow, but it was for push notifications from this hack website, and then I just got a million push notifications.
Oh no!
I did this.
Your iCloud's hacked. This is hacked.
Hank, you're officially a boomer now.
Oh no!
I did this exact same thing last week, but that I just kept getting all the push notifications. But I just like went into my settings and turned it off, and I haven't noticed anything.
That probably didn't do anything. There is nothing scarier than that moment when you do the one click too many, and then you basically tell yourself that if you can just X out fast enough, you'll be fine. X. You're like, all right, I'm good.
I just turned my computer off.
Yeah.
The notification came up, was like your Gmail is being hacked. Like open, and I clicked open, and I was like, no. Like,
no.
so I did 2 clicks too many. Pete said I should be fine. We'll see though. So just something to keep in mind.
We have to keep an eye on you now. Like I have a rule with my mom that before she clicks on any links, she has to like send me a screenshot
Well, it
of it.
said
and I tell
download
her.
on the button.
I think you need to ask us.
That's tough, Hank.
You got to let us know when you're thinking about downloading.
I was trying to make a highlight reel.
You're a
fucking
C-suite guy.
dunking on PFT. Well,
This actually might be why you're old.
Wait, what were we gonna make a highlight reel of?
The from Surviving Barstool when I went 5 for 6 on you shooting. I made it. It's out there.
Great.
Who's
Proud
gotten
of that,
fished
Hank?
the most at this company?
Who's got what?
Who's gotten fished, scammed?
Jerry.
No,
Who?
Erica.
Oh yeah, Erica
Yeah,
does
true.
get scammed left and right.
So
We get texts from fake Ericas all the time.
C-suite life.
Yeah, but this also means you might be getting old. Like we're
Definitely.
the young,
No, it was
we're the
definitely-
young whippersnappers that have got to come in and look at your computer and be like, "Let's fix this real quick for you."
I don't think I've ever gotten hacked.
There's beans. There's beans in the computer.
it's been. It's I'm just preemptively saying it just
You
in
ever-
case.
you ever
Pete
see-
said he thinks I'm fine.
You ever see that video?
Which one?
The guy puts he has a desktop and he just puts like 5 cans of beans in his desktop, and then he hires a Geek Squad guy to come check it out, and the guy opens it up. He's like, "There's beans in here." He's like, "What do you mean?" There's beans in the computer. That's you, Hank.
Yeah. My cool throne is the fucking sun. Aaron Rodgers.
Oh yeah,
Like
like
to
to tweet. Yeah,
about sunscreen basically being here. I'll read the tweet.
yeah, I saw this.
It's like Tom Brady. Just drink a bunch of water.
Yeah, it's from Russell Okung. Proud base parent moment. My 4-year-old stopped me and asked why other people use sunscreen. I looked at him seriously and responded, corporations push propaganda machines to make the masses believe the sun is bad for them. We have a different view. Now let's go.
Yes.
That parent sucks.
On that butthole. Just get the tank going. Russell Okung, he's the former offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm.
I think he took his entire salary in crypto.
Yeah, he did. That parent could have easily just been like, sunscreen's bullshit. You just say that.
Also like a Ruth Conda.
Yeah, that's not a real conversation.
There's no way.
No one talks to their kids like that.
Why would a 4-year-old stop? I mean, you know better. Like,
No.
4-year-old stop. Why do other people use sunscreen?
No, my son has probably asked that. Like, I don't want to put on sunscreen. I'm like, well, you got to.
My 4-year-old
That's
son,
it.
Chris, he respects the sun. That's day one stuff as a dad.
Whenever a kid asks why, you just say because. That's it. Game over.
Also, selling base dad merchandise would probably do a lot of merch.
Yeah.
A lot of sales.
All right, PFT, your hot seat, cool throne.
Well, Hank stole my hot seat with the AI thing.
What an asshole.
So I'm just going to say hot seat the PGA Tour.
Ooh.
Because Tiger Woods says that he's going to come back and play one event per month next year.
Love it.
So Tiger's back in the news. I hope he does.
That'd be the cool throne.
What's that, Hank?
Wouldn't the PGA that'd be the best?
No, because Tiger's going to beat all of them.
But the tour will be thrilled.
The hot seat's the other players.
The other player. Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, that's what he meant.
Yeah, sorry. That was 2 minutes.
Follow along, Hank.
For Hank's.
You got to fucking do. Would you get a
Well, you
computer
said the
virus in
PG
your brain?
You said the PGA Tour. The PGA Tour is thrilled.
The PGA
Tiger's
Tour
back.
roster is on
Yes,
the hot
the
seat.
roster.
That is not what
the
he said.
roster.
Shut the fuck up, Hank. Can you cut off Hank's mic, please?
You got a virus in your brain.
Thanks, Max. My cool throne is Darren Ravel.
Oh.
Because Darren Ravel left the Action Network. So now that he's
Left
gone,
or fired?
Don't know.
Okay.
Ambiguous. Now that he's gone, now he can do fun stuff like come on Part of My Take, which is great. Now that
He's going back to sports
he's
business
not
full
working.
time.
Oh, no. So he's going to be at another competitor?
Damn it.
So we can't have him on the show. Fuck.
I don't know where he's going.
I was hoping that Darren would be able to come on the show now that he no longer worked at the Action Network.
Well, Jake just said he's not. Sports business isn't a. Do you want me to correct?
Yeah, correct.
Sports business isn't a place.
Okay, so where's
That's true. That's well for Darren. It is.
he will be working at
It's like Narnia.
most likely.
He just walks in and he just like he looks through and there's waterfalls and there's prices on people wearing like Ray-Bans and how much did this cost? How much did they get for wearing Pumas instead of Nikes?
There's a Beckett's MLK Junior catalog.
Yeah, that is a place for him.
Yeah, but thank you for destroying the joke, Hank. I appreciate that. We're just saying that Ravel will not be able to come on Part of My Take, but that's all right.
We've had this debate for years. I think one time
I know. I just don't like him.
it'd be great.
Just
It would
being
be
honest.
so-
I like him now. He gave me this job, kind of.
Yeah.
His existence.
If Darren Ravel can come on this show if he honestly answers all questions about Northwestern and Pat Fitzgerald.
And I want 3 pieces of his African American memorabilia,
Yeah.
which I will be donating to a museum.
No, you want over 3.
Over 3 plus, and it's going to a museum, Darren.
That's funny. On this day of all days, call me racist?
If he comes on the show, I just want to have the Zapruder film on a TV above me.
He did have a little bit of self-awareness
That
when
was
he
funny.
did tweet. Yeah, so he gets points for that. But yeah, Ravel, if you want to answer all questions about Pat Fitzgerald and over 3 pieces of memorabilia to PFT.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have to pledge that you're not going to prank him like last time.
Oh yeah, PFT totally pranked him by doing the shake my hand and then
No, when you
I
guys
did
called
download
him
too
up,
slow.
right?
Yeah, he did download too slow and Darren's like, I don't like
No, I'm
that.
saying when he called in and you hung up on him.
esports. We used to call him.
Oh,
Esports
yeah,
Minute.
yeah,
Esports
yeah.
Minute.
We did
Yeah,
that
that's
multiple
right.
times.
You were like, "What, Darren? What's up?" And he started talking. You're like, "Sorry, loser," and you hung up on him right
Well,
away.
the entire interview is going to be a prank.
Should we call him right now?
Yeah, let's give him a call.
Let's ask him where his next place is.
Let's see if he's
and
gonna
I'm just
come
going to
on
hang
the
up
show.
on him.
Hello.
Hey, Darren, it's Big Cat from Pardon My Take. We were wondering if you had any comment about your next move in sports business.
Is this being taped?
This is being taped. I hung up.
That was mean. That was mean. That was so mean.
What do you think his comment was going to be?
You remember when we tried to fight me at Rough and Rowdy and he wanted like $3 million? I'd fight him for free, for the record.
I didn't like that.
What?
I don't know. I think it was mean.
Hanging up on him?
Yeah.
Jake, riddle me this, riddle me that. What is meaner, hanging up on Darren Ravel before we just brutally make fun of him, or keeping him on the line and making fun of him?
I don't know.
Okay. All right, my hot seat is the Blackhawks because, one, Patrick Kane is a Red Wing, which is disgusting to see, even though I love Patrick Kane forever. And two, the Blackhawks somehow they always get into these situations where something happens and then rumors start and they're never just forthright about it. But Corey Perry has been released, and there's some rumors going around the internet. Who knows what happened? But I'll just say this. The Blackhawks should do a better job of making sure they protect Connor Bedard at all costs. And he's your franchise player. Maybe just do a press conference and explain what happened.
Yeah, or at least give a security detail to his mom.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be really bad for Bedard because every other player in the league, every other fan in the league, when Bedard visits town, now has some raw meat.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of ammo.
Like, how do you fuck this up? This is your fucking franchise guy. It's your franchise guy.
If you're scouting a franchise guy, you want to make sure that his mom is not attractive.
I don't like the rumors that you're starting.
I'm not starting a rumor.
Corey Perry did something bad. It had nothing to do with anything else. That's my official statement. Put it out.
Okay. He did something.
Here's my official statement. Corey Perry did something bad. It had nothing to do with anything else. Protect Connor Bedard at all costs. But that is not related to the Corey Perry thing. That's my official statement.
That's fair.
All right, my cool throne is men because it's similar to the sunscreen thing. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a viral tweet that went around the internet. This woman tweeted, "To me, a physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually healthy man does the following." So I don't know if we can check off the list, see if that we're there. Doesn't vape.
Yeah, for the last 3 days.
Okay.
Nicotine.
Doesn't smoke weed. Doesn't get vaxxed. Doesn't watch porn. Lifts weights weekly.
Yeah.
Prioritizes sleep.
No.
Yes.
Do that. Eats lots of steak and eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't drink tap water.
I don't. I drink Body Armor.
Doesn't use AirPods. I don't.
I don't either.
Would choose a podcast over music. Yeah.
Nope. Yeah.
That's hot.
Every day, Hank.
The fuck, Hank?
You work at a podcast, Hank. 'Cause
You work at a podcast
exactly, so I don't
factory.
listen to other ones.
That's what we do. We come in here and we turn on the engines and we make podcasts.
Right, but then I'm not going to – you listen to competitors? I don't want to give them downloads.
No, we listen to our own show. We self-scout. We should do a bye week next year.
Yeah.
We self-scout.
Of course, Hank says yeah.
Yeah, of course Hank says yeah. We did a bye week and we self-scouted and did all – we had new plays and everything. Cooks with butter, G, tallow, and Evo.
Butter.
Butter, yes.
Extra virgin olive oil. Is that the last one?
Sure.
Yeah, of course. Everybody does.
Doesn't eat and drink out of plastic.
No.
Uses fluoride-free toothpaste. Who cares?
No, that shit doesn't work.
I thought fluoride was good for you.
It's good for your teeth.
Yeah, it
But
is
that's
good for your teeth.
probably also a tap water thing.
Doesn't wear aluminum deodorant. Wears 100% cotton underwear. Doesn't trust the government. Doesn't black out every weekend.
Nope.
No, not anymore.
Utilizes cold plunging in the sauna. Gets daily sunlight and grounding. Knows birth control is poison. Uses natural
Pull out,
remedies
yeah.
when sick. Has some type of daily spiritual practice. Isn't stuck in a soul-sucking 9-to-5. Has hobbies and passions in his life.
I'm betting like 40% on those.
Yeah,
It's pretty good.
yeah. So that's the ideal man.
Is grounding like what Liver King taught us, where you just walk outside barefoot?
I think it's when you're touching an electrical pole. You make sure
Yeah,
that
I don't do
you
that
don't use
anymore.
both hands.
That's what Justin Fields did.
Yeah, he did. You want to do that, buddy? Matt Jones is a grounding king.
No, I know.
Yeah, it's so hard for referees to even tell when he's intentionally grounding because it looks like every other pass. They have to get up and have a little discussion. Like, was that one of those passes from Mac Jones that he was trying to throw to somebody?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to defend him anymore, so these comments don't hurt me.
Okay, fine.
We're tanking, so he's great.
Okay, fine. Just don't know that you can't make jokes like that when
It was a reference. Not
Yeah,
a joke.
no. It was a joke.
Topical.
It was
Topical
topical.
reference.
It was topical. They did play Monday Night Football. Okay, Jake, your hot seat, cool throne.
Yeah, it's funny you guys were just talking about this because my hot seat is Bill Belichick.
Oh.
Rex Ryan on Get Up on ESPN. He went off
Oh, no.
on Belichick.
Oh,
and
wait.
the
No,
Patriots.
this is new. This is new.
Yeah.
We thought this was the Alex Smith thing.
No.
Okay, all right.
This is from yesterday.
Yep.
He said, "Can I just say this? Bill Belichick, please stop. Just name your dang starter. It doesn't matter. They both stink. Like, we care about your team. Your team stinks."
Oh, fighting words for a
Yeah.
guy.
Actually accurate.
Yeah.
And this is Greeny wasn't there. He has COVID. Hope he gets well soon.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. Rex
COVID?
Ryan.
People still
Greeny, yeah. Greeny,
people are still
definitely.
getting COVID?
I can see.
Tommy smokes.
Yeah, I can see Jake
Do they go and test?
pulling some cocoa.
I don't know.
That's news to me.
But yeah.
Do you
Rex-
think there's someone who's like living in like New York City right now that has still not gone out?
Howard Stern.
No,
Yeah,
everyone's
Yeah.
gone out. But
No, Howard Stern doesn't. I think he makes the Grubhub guy just like drop it at his door and then walk down the hallway to take a picture of it.
Okay.
Yeah, my cool throne is my cool throne Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts.
So the Pop-Tarts Bowl is happening, and they announced that the mascot is going to be edible, and the
Edible.
winning team can eat part of the mascot
Yes.
after they win
Yes.
the Pop-Tarts
This
Bowl.
rules.
They should do that with Bloopy.
It's the second best
Oh.
bowl this season behind the Barstool Sports Arizona
He'd
Bowl.
probably taste delicious. That
Bloopy would
fat
be,
fuck.
He would be so good.
Oh my
he
god.
looks like he's fried.
Yeah. You just put a little salt on him.
Bloopy-
He actually already has a bunch of salt after the Philly made him cry.
Yeah, Bloopy would look great just on a Waffle House menu.
Yeah.
He looks so.
Oh, I'd like
so
to
in place.
spit roast him.
I'd broil him.
Oh.
I mean, sous vide him.
Watch him scream in a boiling water.
You know what I'd do?
Lobster.
I'd make him into a s'more.
Oh.
Just put a big stick right up his ass,
I
out
could
his
see
mouth,
that.
and then hold him over an open fire.
Yeah. Well, he screamed.
And I like
Philly
Bloopy.
was mean to me.
I like Bloopy. I just think that he would be very tasty.
I do not like
I just want to eat him.
No. Max and I. Look, see, Max, we're back together finally.
Love this. We
The one
needed
thing
this.
about me and Max, we don't like Bloopy.
Nah, fuck that, man.
Yeah. Okay. Time for our interview with Kirk Herbstreit, and shout out to Body Armor. Body Armor helps us stay hydrated throughout our interviews with the biggest guests in the world. Packed with electrolytes and no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes, Body Armor hydrates the best athletes in the world, and more importantly, us during interviews. Buy Body Armor today. Visit the Body Armor Amazon store or retailers nationwide. Strawberry Banana, my favorite Body Armor drink. I also just drink the water all the time. Available in stores nationwide. Head on over to Body Armor store on Amazon and get yours today. Here he is, Kirk Herbstreit. Okay, we now welcome on our very good friend. It is Kirk Herbstreit. We're going to talk some college football. You obviously see him every Saturday morning, College Game Day. You see him calling the biggest game every Saturday night. You also see him on Thursday Night Football calling NFL, so maybe we'll mix in a little NFL here. But Herbie, let's start big picture. This is maybe the most exciting championship weekend we've had because we have 4 teams that are undefeated. I don't think that's ever happened this late in the season. Let's just dive right into the college football playoff and what you see in terms of the paths every team has. If everyone holds serve, let's say the favorites win, so Oregon beats Washington, I'd say the committee probably has it easy that they can just put in all 4 or 3 undefeated in Oregon, correct? Florida State?
I think they will. I think the one thing we have to consider, and I like Florida State. I just called their game the other night, but the loss of Jordan Travis to me is pretty significant. I think that we have to be careful. We live in an era where it's like, okay, they're undefeated, so they're in because they're in a Power 5. I don't do that. I'm really big on the best 4 teams. Now it's subjective, like who you guys think, who I think, who other people think. I don't have a dog in a fight here. If Oregon wins and they're a 1-loss team and they beat Washington on Friday night, I can't not put Oregon in. I think they're one of the best teams. I think they have been all year. If Georgia wins, if Michigan wins, if Florida State wins, if Oregon wins, if Texas wins, we got a serious dilemma. That committee, no matter what they do, is wrong. No matter who they put in, they're going to be wrong. But I'm not a big fan. If you think Florida State's one of the best teams with Tate Rodemaker, then that's no problem. But I'm just not big on they're undefeated, so we have to put them in. If you think they're still one of the best 4, then let's put them in. Not because they're unbeaten.
I was thinking about this because we talked about Florida State on the show a couple days ago, and we said it's the right thing to do to put Florida State in. You can't say, well, they're worse because they have a different quarterback, so hypothetically they wouldn't be as big of a threat. But then it occurred to me, and I still think it would be the right thing to do to put Florida State in. But we're talking about college football here, and we're talking about some pretty large media conglomerates that are thinking about ratings as well. And if you think that they're going to do the right thing over putting in a bigger brand name with a more, I guess, well, Florida State would be a big brand name, but minus their starting quarterback, that's a big deal for ratings. It seems to me like the more I think about it, the more they would go towards Texas, just simply for the ratings factor. I'm putting on my college football playoff rigged hat and saying they do want ratings. They're trying to make money. So I think that that's a fair point to make too.
I can fix that for you because I've been calling all these games since it started. I call one of the semifinal games and I call the national championship. I have all the whole time we've done this, and I can assure you that ESPN is not. I can promise you, I'm not like defending ESPN. I can promise you, if you look at the ratings, that doesn't hold up. If we were doing it, if ESPN was involved on ratings, it would be Georgia and Michigan. Forget, if Alabama loses, it's fine. Put them in.
Ohio State.
That's what they would do. This is more of the committee isolated wherever they are in Texas, trying to figure out, listen, the ratings are okay. They're not NFL ratings. They're good, but there's really not much of a bump when you put in these big brands versus not. It's really not even, that's more of a conspiracy theory on Twitter than it is reality. I promise you it's not a reality thing at all. ESPN's not on the phone saying, we really need Georgia. Like, it's not real. So you guys can think that, but I can promise you it's not. What's real is in calling all these games. Now, last year we had Ohio State, Georgia, we had TCU, Michigan. Those games were great. They came down to the wire. You know what I said this to Pat the other day. You know what the average margin of victory has been since 2014 when this thing started?
Yeah, it's been
the playoffs have sucked. Playoffs have sucked. The average margin of victory has been 19. So as a guy who calls these games, I don't want to do the right thing. If you talk to Bill Hancock, and we had lots of meetings about this, they're not supposed to do the right thing. They're supposed to, their job is to put the best 4 teams in the playoff. Now, again, it's subjective. Who you think and I think are the best 4 are different, and that's fine. But that's what that group is supposed to do. Not what do we think about ratings? That's bullshit. Put the fucking best 4 teams in the game. That's at the end of the day, that's it.
Okay. I agree with you. I want to see the best 4 teams. But can we at least agree that the games should matter? And that's really what it comes down to. Florida State,
100%.
Florida State being an undefeated team, and then the Texas-Alabama problem that people are throwing out there that, listen, a lot of this stuff is probably going to get figured out. Like, we spend a lot of time hand-wringing all this stuff, and then we'll probably wake up on Sunday morning, and Georgia would have won, and Michigan won, and maybe Florida State wins, maybe Oregon or Washington. Maybe it's all 4 undefeated teams. It's not even an issue. But I really do believe that the games have to matter. So if it's a Texas-Alabama issue, the game head-to-head has to matter, and that has to be, like, otherwise, what's the point of playing the season?
Yeah. There's so many what ifs. I mean, I don't know when you guys are going to air this. I don't know, but if Alabama wins, it's a
problem for the committee. It's a problem.
Holy cow. And we're almost just assuming Georgia's going to win. That's still Nick Saban with a quarterback in Jalen Milroe who can make plays with his feet. I mean, you never know, right? And it's still Alabama defense. I mean, and this is not Georgia over the last 2 years where they have like 3 or 4 or 5 first-rounders all over the field. They're a great team, but it's not. So that game could be competitive.
Absolutely.
And if Alabama were to win, I can't even imagine where we are, because let's just say that if Alabama wins and Michigan wins and Oregon or Washington wins and Florida State wins and Texas wins, and all those things are not like pie in the sky like that. Those things are probably pretty practical. Everything else I just said.
Yeah.
What the hell do you do? Let's just sit and work it out. Michigan is a lock.
Yep.
Right.
Pac-12 is a lock.
Pac-12
Should be.
If Oregon
Yeah,
wins, they're sitting there with one loss.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. So Pac-12 maybe a question mark. Florida State, I would assume would be a lock.
You would think Florida State would be a lock. So then we've got 2 spots, and you got Texas, who beat Alabama, sitting there as Big 12 champs, and Alabama just beat Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
It's a problem.
It's really hard not to put Texas in.
Yeah, does Texas's win over Alabama get better because Alabama then beat Georgia?
Yeah,
I would think. I mean, you could make the argument it was the best win of the season.
Right.
You know what's unfortunate in this scenario? If Oregon beats Washington, I think that they would keep Oregon out, and it would be Texas and Alabama. Because here's the only thing, and I know you said conspiracy theory, all this stuff, but who's going to complain about Oregon being out? The Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore. Like, It's the last chance you got. Like, and unfortunately, I think Oregon's one of the top best 4 teams, but I think that would probably be what they would do, because I just can't fathom a no SEC Final Four.
You know what's really, really sad here is, and doing this and living this every minute of every day, Oregon is in the best conference in the country, like top to bottom. And I know if you look at their strength of schedule, maybe it's not. Maybe it doesn't show that, but if you really have watched the Pac-12 this year, there aren't a lot of easy wins. In that conference, and what you're saying, I mean, you imagine keeping Nick Saban and Alabama out if they beat Georgia?
No. I think
I would make a case again, going back to what we originally said. It's supposed to be the best 4 teams. How can you not say Georgia is one of the best 4 teams, even if they lose to Alabama?
I know.
Right. It would just be so weird to see a team coming off a loss like that against another team that should be in there also getting in. What are you going to do, run it back? Is it going to be a rematch?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Whatever. If Alabama wins, the committee might just have to. I mean, they're dead.
They need Florida State to lose under that circumstance.
They very much
hope. Yeah, they do.
Florida State
they
to lose. Yeah.
They need Georgia, Michigan, and Georgia to win, Michigan to win, and Louisville to win, and then they can
figure it out. But yeah, it's fascinating, because it really is the craziest championship Saturday I can remember. All right, so other things. You're an Ohio State guy. The game was phenomenal on Saturday, Michigan, Ohio State. Tell us how you're feeling about Ryan Day and what you think Buckeye fans are thinking going forward, because Ryan Day has a phenomenal coach. I think it's something like 39-0 against Big Ten teams not named Michigan. I think he's 40-3 overall in the Big Ten. Does Ryan Day have a Michigan problem? Because it felt like going into this game, they built their team back up to be as tough as Michigan. The last 2 years, Michigan was tougher. This year, Ohio State had some nastiness to them. They had some shit to them. But Ryan Day had 1 or 2 chances in that game where he got a little conservative, and he didn't coach. He didn't have the wrinkles that you need to win that type of game, and was saying, like, we'll just go out there and we'll play our game and hope we win. Do you think he has a problem going forward with Michigan and the fan base?
I think there's 2 things that can be true here. I think number one, I wouldn't even consider even talking about firing Ryan Day. Like I wouldn't. Number 2, he definitely has a Michigan problem. So I think both of those things can be true. This game is cyclical. The pressure, the way teams get in the other team's head. Ohio State lived in Michigan's head for a number of years with Tressel and Urban Meyer. And Jim Harbaugh, to his credit, at one point they were ready to fire him. And now that he's completely turned this thing around, and I think now I would say this, like, if I were Ryan Day and I were looking at, okay, we put everything into this, we got to get tougher. I've always felt that when Ohio State is tougher, that the recruiting that they have done from the end of the Urban Meyer era to now, they recruit nationally. They go to Florida, they go to Georgia, they go to North Carolina, they go to Texas, they go to California. If you look at the Ohio State roster, there are not a ton of Ohio guys. And I would suggest maybe looking at that aspect of the roster and finding more Ohio guys that qualify to be on the Ohio State roster to make them appreciate what this game really means. Because you can put slogans up.
Yep.
You can do a fourth quarter drill. This is the Michigan drill. You can do all the things. You can have a clock up in the Woody Hayes facility, do all those things. But the reality is, when we watch the game, it feels like the Michigan team plays as a group where they play like with a chip on their shoulder and they're mad at the world and they play with like something to prove. And in the last 3 years, that has been more than what Ohio State has brought to the table in that game.
It's such a great point, because I always have thought that one of the greatest things that Urban Meyer did and didn't get enough credit for was he made a bunch of kids, 18-year-olds from Florida and California and Texas, hate Michigan. Like, he made it so that team hated Michigan. Those kids have no reason to have that type of hate for a rival in the Midwest when they're from Florida, California. But he had that instilled in that team, and they wanted to pulverize them every time they played in November.
100%. And I feel like right now, Ohio State has great players, and they have a great culture. But when it comes to that game,
right,
because it's become a psychological aspect of the game, I still think Michigan has a bunch of guys that are great players, but maybe not quite as recruited at the level of Ohio State. And they got a chip on their shoulder to prove that they are collectively better than the Marvin Harrison Juniors and the, Mecca Ibuka and all the great individual superstars that Ohio State has. They have a chip on their shoulder to show Ohio State, we have a better culture. We're better than you. And right now, that united front is more powerful than what Ohio State has. So, and even with that being said, they had the ball late. They had a chance. They moved the ball into Michigan territory. And you got to give Michigan all the credit in the world. They made the plays that they had to win the game.
Yeah. I feel like enough losses in a row, you're going to start to get that hate build up naturally. You're going to start to get that chip on that shoulder. It's going to be 4 or 5 years, and maybe naturally that'll happen. And they'll be like, I hate those guys. Or you could just like stage a fake kidnapping of Brutus and be like, Michigan did it. Let's go get these sons of bitches back. That's what I would do as a head coach personally. In the I think it was the first quarter of the game, the touchdown. Great throw. Tremendous throw between two Ohio State Buckeye defenders. Yeah. Was it a touchdown? Because I feel like this is going to be a play that we're gonna argue about for the next 20 years, which I love. I love that about college football fan bases. But in your opinion, touchdown or turnover?
Tough one there. If let's just say the defensive back wasn't there and he caught the ball the way he did, and then as he came to the ground, the ball, instead of going into an Ohio State defender's arms, it went onto the ground. I think they probably would have called that incomplete. So with that being said, it's hard. I mean, it's very easy to sit there and just say, well, you're an Ohio State guy. I really, honestly, I don't care. I mean, if it's a touchdown, it's a touchdown. If it's not, it's not. But I just think, it was a critical moment in the game, but they reviewed it. I can't remember. Did they say confirmed or did they say stands?
I think they called it a touchdown.
It was called a touchdown. I think if it had been called incomplete on the field, or if it had been called an interception.
I'm saying on the replay, did they say confirmed or did they say call as stand? I just think if the defensive back isn't there, because we're all learning over these last 4 or 5 years, going back to Des Bryant, like you got to complete the process of the catch, which means even when you're in the end zone, the ball cannot squirt and then fall out. So that's the only thing that I would have looked at there to maybe say that it would have been whoever it ended up in whoever's arms. I think the Ohio State player took it away from him. You could easily have said it could have been a turnover there that Ohio State would have had a touchback.
Yeah. It's just gonna be fun because you can always go back and point at that and be like, we got ref screwed us, which is a very valuable piece of copium to have if you're a fan. We're gonna get back to Herbie in a second. He's brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury firm, and they've got some facts for you here. 35% of all fatal accidents occur between 6 p.m. and midnight. People aged 25 to 34 have the highest amount of drivers involved in car crashes. People aged 15 to 24 have the highest rate of emergency room visits due to car accidents of any age group. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. They have over 100 offices nationwide and more than 800 lawyers. With over $15 billion recovered for over 300,000 clients, Morgan & Morgan has a proven track record of fighting to get you full and fair compensation. They've been fighting for the people for over 35 years. Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is so easy. Entertaining clients is hard. Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is easy. Winning the lotto at PMT is hard unless you're Jake or Hank. Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is easy. Moving to Chicago is hard. Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is easy. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury firm. They got more than 800 lawyers that will fight for you. If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. The fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/PMT, or you can dial pound law. That's pound 529 from your cell phone. That's FORthepeople.com/PMT, or pound law, pound 529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement. And now here's Kirk Herbstreit. I know that you're a Heisman voter, and so Big Cat and I are undecided about who we're going
unbiased as well.
We're going to be voting for our hypothetical Heisman vote. So we'll just go off whoever you think should win the Heisman Trophy this year. So whatever you say, we're going to blindly follow that. Who do you have winning the Heisman Trophy?
Well, I have Jaden Daniels winning.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, okay, us too.
Good pick.
Now, yeah, you're right.
That's weird. I took a future on him a couple weeks ago.
Me too. It was.
Oh, no
highly
way.
Leveraged.
What'd you get it at?
We got it at 5.5 to 1. We were very full disclosure to our audience. We said, hey, we're gonna bet this, and we're also gonna just become PR team for Jaden Daniels.
But I didn't know that Herbie had.
We had no idea.
Heisman Trophy. Like ball. I mean, you watch more football than anybody.
Listen. He has been by far. Like when you think of a Heisman winner and you watch his plays, that's the guy you think of. With that being said, I'm with you guys. I am going to hold my vote. I'm going to watch Bo Nix against Washington and Penix, that game. If Bo Nix goes off, you could maybe be in jeopardy there. And the other thing that's in wild card is some of these older voters. There's over 1,000 guys that vote on this thing. Some people have already voted.
Right.
And the fact that LSU has 3 losses, there are people that are like, I will not vote for a person that has. It's like an old school way of voting. But there are people that won't vote for a guy that had 3 losses. How often do you go back and look at the Heisman? It almost always is a quarterback or a superstar of a team that's in the top 3 or 4 of the country. It's just like, who's the MVP of that team? Bo Nix. There you go. Like it's normally that. But in my opinion, it should go to the most dynamic playmaker. And that player has been Jaden Daniels up to this point. Bo Nix has a chance Friday in the Pac-12 championship, and we'll see what he does.
Yeah, the best case you could make is Lamar Jackson's 2016 team, because they had 3 losses as well, and he was phenomenal, and he was the best player in college football. I think that would be the one, because listen, when you watch all the games, I know that LSU is not going to be in the college football playoff. They're not in the SEC championship. Their defense gave up 55 points to Ole Miss. That can't be held against Jaden Daniels. He has been so phenomenal, and I do like to do the game of like if you flopped players, like if Bo Nix was on LSU, how many wins would they have? 3, 4 losses? If Jaden Daniels is on Oregon, I don't know. I just think Jaden Daniels shouldn't get dinged for his defense being historically bad.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up Lamar Jackson, because that is an example, but it's also an outlier. I mean, if you look in the last 20 years, but it does set a precedent to show you that it's happened in the past, and maybe people will look at that because the guy's he's like one of the best running backs in the country, and he's playing quarterback. I mean, he's averaging almost 8 yards a carry, and he does stuff and he's not just a runner. I mean, he's had a big year throwing the football. He's going to be a great NFL player with the way the NFL game is trending to more of almost like a dual threat ability. Jaden Daniels is made for this new NFL because he can really throw the football well. So I think he's a dynamic guy. He's had Heisman moments all year. And we'll see. I think it'll be a fascinating race though between those two.
All right. So hypothetical, if you were calling the Iron Bowl on Saturday, what would your call have been after Auburn decided to rush 2 and put a QB spy on Jalen Milroe on a 4th and 31? Because that was one of the craziest decisions I've ever seen in terms of defensive calling, plays at the end of a game.
Well, there's a couple things. I don't know if I would have recovered from the play before that.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell just happened? He went 3 or 4 yards past the line of scrimmage.
They tried to go back.
Then he came back. And then he threw it. And I'm like, what's happening to
He
this?
had done it a couple times that game. He did one
I know.
another one where he was like 5 yards past and he threw a touchdown.
But with everything at stake, he had the ball that snapped over his head, then he crosses the line. You're thinking Alabama's just doomed. They're just not going to win this game. So that to me, that's what made the moment just like, what the hell just happened? What is it about the Iron Bowl that gives us these moments? That's what I think blew everybody away was, Tua had the national championship throw, but plays leading up to that, it was like, oh boy, they're going to lose. And then he hits Devontae Smith and you're like, oh my gosh, one of those great moments for Alabama. Yeah, I would have probably lost it the way Fowler and I did when we were watching. I mean, we were 30 seconds from going on air, and we have a quad box. So while you're calling games, I'm watching games as I'm calling a game. So there's other games going on. I want to see what's going on in those games. When we go to a break. So we have our quad box still with the earlier games, the 3:30 games. So I'm like hitting Fowler, showing him like the replay of it, Milroe going across the line and bringing it back, and he's like, and the producer's like, guys, we got to get ready. And he's like, all right, watch the last play, and then there's a timeout. I'm like, he's like, Herbie, we're like a minute away. I go, dude, we got to watch this play. So we're watching it, and then the play happened, and we just like you guys. I don't know where you were. You probably lost your minds.
Yeah,
I mean,
the best part about that play is I think I can confidently say for the rest of my life that was the worst touchdown game-winning drive of all time. Because Alabama was like so bad in that entire. They got the ball, they got the muff punt, like they were gifted the field position. They did everything they could to not win the game, and then they won the game.
But to answer your question, I think I guess on paper it makes sense why you drop everybody and you take all the receivers away. But what Milroe did do a good job of, if you go back and look at the kind of that sky cam view, is they had receivers down the middle. They were all doubled. And he found the matchup, or at least it was a one-on-one. I don't know who the defensive back was. I think it was maybe number 4. You feel so bad for that guy, because in that rivalry, as much as Milroe and Alabama will forever be remembered, that poor guy, I don't know if he's going to go into the portal. I don't know what but their fans are relentless. And it's like he didn't find the ball. He never saw the football thrown, and then he loses the receiver. And by the time he reacted, the guy, of course, Bond goes up and makes that play. But one of the worst game-winning drives and Hail Mary
ever.
we've ever seen.
I think you should be allowed to advance a muff punt. I'm always confused about that. And every time a player, they know the rules on special teams, they get it, and they always, they take off towards the end zone. It seems to me that's a dumb rule. You should be allowed to take it as far as you can get it before you get tackled.
I know.
Credit to Milroe. He looked off the defense too.
Yeah.
So he was like his head was pointed at the center of the field.
He was kind of like this.
Bit. Yeah.
He was here, and then I think he was seeing those double teams, and then at the last second he saw that, and he just basically threw up a prayer.
Yeah, I think Auburn would have been better if they had rushed 0 players.
Yeah.
And if they had rushed 2.
It would have at least confused them.
And then you just put everybody back in the end zone, and
you're probably right.
Yeah.
That way you double everybody.
Yeah. The QB spy, it's like, what is the QB spy doing there? That person might as well not be on the field at all.
Right.
You're right. Because he's not going to take off and run, obviously. So, yeah, or just bring pressure.
Right.
Yeah.
Bring
blitz.
5.
Yeah.
Bring 5.
Yeah.
Force him to get the ball out fast. Bring 5 or 6. And I know it's risky because maybe you're leaving some man coverage out there. Then people would say, "What the hell are you doing blitzing?" So, if you give one up, you're always going to be wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I noticed that you have a special guest that walked by. Can we say hi to Ben? Ben the dog is right next to you. Ben is the star of the show on
Ben's the
Game
most
Day,
famous dog in the world right now.
He's super famous. He's the best. He's such a good dog that he even went up to Max, who hates dogs and is terrified of dogs. Hey, Ben, how's it going, good boy?
Yeah, look at him. He's just chilling.
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy.
He's just hanging.
Yeah. He just hangs out in the chair right there. And then I got this guy. That's Mitch.
Oh,
right there.
man. Is Mitch jealous? Because I feel like Mitch doesn't get any shine at all.
And then that's Theo down there.
Oh, Theo. Now, Herbie, be honest with me, because you take Ben with you now, and I saw him on the field before the game, Florida State. How many fields has he pissed on?
You know what? I'm very, very calculated with that. I know his pattern.
Okay.
The way you know your infants, a toddler's pattern. So, I feed him around 7:30. He takes care of business post breakfast. So then we're good till right around noon, 1-ish. Feed him again around 2. And then when we've been on the road, I've always gone outside the stadium, usually around like 5:30.
Okay.
Take care of the second round, and then he's good until post game.
That was you have that answer down pat. It's clear he definitely pisses on the field. We know that.
Now here's the wild card. Here's the wild card. Last week at the Swamp, I didn't have a time to get that second round in, so I took him out on the field with me, and the Florida social media people were all over Ben, not me, all over him. And a trainer came by, and I was like, I had him a little more on the leash than normal because I didn't want him to do what you're describing. So I said, hey man, can I get a bag? I said, if he drops a deuce here on the Swamp, it's going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
I got to pick it up. I don't want, because I was terrified that he was going to do that right on the 40-yard line, right by the gator at midfield. I thought he might do it, but we got out of there unscathed, and he took care of it at the FBO after the game.
You just almost have to be waiting to catch that thing in the air. Like, don't let it hit the ground. Get right underneath him. I met your guy Ryan when I was in Harrisonburg.
Yeah, Ryan's been great.
We talked about Ben's schedule. He said there's been some times where he's been outside with Ben before the games for about 30 minutes, just walking him back and forth across the same strip of grass. Like, hey man, please just take a piss so I can just get you on this field right now.
Yeah, and since we've been on the road, way more than I even recognized before, he's almost gotten to the point where he goes on command. Like I tell him, if you get to a certain piece of grass, and again it's timed up right, everything is like a very much a cycle. And then game day he'll come out, like at JMU he came out, basically kind of said hi to the crowd. The crowd was massive and loud, and then Ryan takes him back into the production room and just kind of hangs out. And then I take him. It's been great to take him on the field pregame. I'll take him out there, and players are kicking. It's when the specialists are out there. The teams are just coming out. The players come over, full uniform. They're petting him, and then he'll go back to the bus during the beginning of the game, and then he'll come into the booth usually around halftime and just hangs out in the booth, right around our feet. Fowler's been cool about it, and then we head out right after the game. But yeah, he's been awesome, and he's great at the hotels. He's spoiled rotten, really.
Yeah, he's the goodest boy. He really is. He's an awesome. But me and Big Cat can actually go on command.
Yeah,
too.
You should spoil your dogs.
Ed Sheeran, not so much.
Herbie, I want to ask you this because I've pushed back when people have complained about it. There's a sect of college football fans that are bemoaning the fact that we're going to a 12-team playoff because maybe the regular season doesn't matter as much. I completely push back on it because I think of some of these games, like even Mizzou, Tennessee a couple weeks ago. That's an elimination game. Like all these games matter. So Oregon State, if they could have caught a win against Washington or Oregon down the stretch, they could have been in. Like, do you agree that the college football playoff, the 12-team playoff, is going to make the regular season even more fun? And yeah, there'll be some weird wrinkles. Like Michigan, Ohio State would be weird, but they're still playing for a 1 seed and a home playoff game and a bye. But I would assume that you're all in on the 12-team playoff, right?
Yeah, I like getting more teams in. I think it's more fun, gives more teams a chance. A team like Missouri right now, if you put them in, it'd be like, whoa, you sure you want to play Missouri right now? So I think that's good. What's bad specifically for me in the Big Ten is you lose the divisions.
Yeah.
So imagine Ohio State, Michigan this Saturday playing in the Big Ten championship. I think that wrinkle to me is going to be odd and going to take some time to get used to. Michigan deserves credit. They just beat Ohio State. They shouldn't have to a week later now go have to play them again, in Indianapolis. So that to me, I'm not necessarily a massive fan of. And I think at the top, like Ohio State loses. I think the AP maybe dropped Ohio State wherever they were
6,
2 down to 6. So you lose in this case. if that's what the committee has them at the final ranking, they lose a bye. So instead of getting the bye as a top 4 team, now you're hosting a first round matchup. So is that a massive penalty for losing to Michigan with everything on the line this year and losing, and now see you next year? Now next year it's going to be, well, depending, I guess, if you lose to them again, would you drop all the way out? Would you go from 6 to 13? I don't know. But I do think, I'm just looking at the poll right now. You got Ole Miss at 11. You got Penn State at 10. Missouri at 9. Oklahoma is there at 12. LSU with Jaden Daniels is at 13. Arizona's at 14. They're another fun team.
They're really good. Yeah.
Those debates are going to now, it's just the argument's just going to slide down to that 11, 12, 13, 14 debate, just like you have, I guess, with March Madness, when teams argue who should be in and who should be out. So there's always going to be arguments. I just, I think the regular season can't lose its importance, and really the conference championship, other than the SEC, because I don't know if you guys ever been to that. That is typically the best atmosphere of the entire year, because that region, that still matters as much, if not more, than the national championship. So like this Saturday, if you guys are free, you should go down to Atlanta and watch Alabama and Georgia in that dome. Because if you go to Indy and watch Michigan and Iowa, it's just not the same. I'm sure you've been to when Wisconsin's there. It's just,
I have.
It's a good game, but it's just a good game.
No, it's a little different. You're absolutely right. Yeah. And listen, it would be hilarious if Iowa beat Michigan. I don't think they can.
Oh my God.
Iowa being like in a 12-team playoff, Iowa, obviously that Minnesota game they got screwed, but like Iowa's one of my favorite teams in college football, even though they're a rival of Wisconsin, just because it makes people so angry that they keep winning these games the way they're winning them. It drives people crazy.
They're like the Bears right now. I mean, they're just the way the Bears won last night is how they win. They win field position. They're going to win turnover margin. They got a great punter, and they're not going to give up a lot of touchdowns. And their offense is more about, let's work the clock. Yeah. Not going to score. Let's just work the clock, and maybe we'll score if the defense gives us a short field. I mean, that's got to be their plan Saturday against J.J. McCarthy.
I saw him at Wrigley Field when they played against Northwestern, and it was one of the most beautifully painful experiences of my life watching Iowa football. If you're an Iowa football fan, your only hope is to just get blind drunk at the games and hope that at the end of the day your score is higher than theirs. Let's play a hypothetical game.
Take the under. That's the point. Take the under anytime they play.
They're 10-2 to the under, and the average of their over-unders is 34.5. It's insane.
Incredible.
Yeah. So
that has to be a new record.
It's insane.
Let's play the hypothetical game just because it's fun.
Yeah.
If they didn't
real quick, speaking of betting, you guys brought that up. I got a new bet that you guys got to get into. If the Blue Jackets ever accidentally take the lead in the third period, usually you can grab the Bruins or whoever they're playing, like plus 170, plus 200.
Yeah.
They
play the money line. It's a lock. I made a nice chunk the other night. It's a guarantee.
We'll have that on our system, on our text system that we're going to invent. If the Blue Jackets, Columbus has a lead.
If they ever have the lead in the third, put everything on the opponent.
I like it. I'm gonna try that one out. So if hypothetically Iowa had beaten Minnesota, if they didn't have that bogus fair catch call, and then Iowa beats Michigan, does Iowa get into the playoff?
But see, that goes back to our original talk or conversation. If they were undefeated, now if they beat Michigan and they're undefeated, they probably do. If they have one loss and they're playing the way they've done all year, I would just go back to, are they one of the best four? That's what I would say.
Yeah.
And I guarantee as Big Ten champs, they would probably get in.
The
defense is
the problem is that the way they lost to Penn State would probably preclude them, because it's like they couldn't even move the ball. So that would be like, hey, we don't want to watch this again. But I still love Iowa. They make everyone so upset. It's great.
Yeah, they do. They do.
People
get worked up about them. Yeah.
And what I love is they've always got tight ends that get to the NFL and they're outstanding at catching the ball.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah. And linemen generally. They do a job of producing a big lineman.
So Herbie, what goes on inside the room at the College Football Playoff Committee? Like, are we talking? Is there a nice spread out there? Do they have like a buffet? Is there a bar? Are people having drinks in there?
I don't know. I've never been there. I'm like you guys. I go to, luckily I've been at my house, the last few weeks that they've done this, and I don't have to worry about going down there. I think should ask Heather Dennickstead. She goes down there and sits outside the room and talks to them, but I'm sure they feed them pretty well. But I've talked with some guys. I talked to Alvy about it when he was on there. And, I think the coaches generally, a lot of people bring in the analytics, and then you kind of hope that the football coaches are the ones that are bringing the football part of it into the equation. Because like I said, if you just get caught up in the metrics of what makes a good team, I think you end up going down the wrong path. That's part of it, but that's not all of it.
Yeah.
I just want to know if there's like fights that break out in there, if people start yelling at each other. How heated does it get? I want to see.
I wonder.
I think it should be recorded. We should be able to watch this debate, right?
That would be great. And when Alvy was in there with his pinky ring on, I call him Al Capone. He was in there getting after people. But I don't know. I don't know the committee this year to know what kind of energy we got going in that room. But if there's ever a year to argue and get after each other, this will be it Sunday morning.
Yeah. So the other part of what we got going on with college football right now is obviously the coaching carousel is going to start heating up. Mike Elko going to Texas A&M, which I think is a good hire. I know that I thought Mark Stoops would have been a good hire too, but that's a whole other issue with Texas A&M fans. Who do you have circled right now is a guy who you think is going to get a job and be successful right away?
The Elko hire. Can you guys fill me in? I left Florida State, Florida at the Swamp.
Yeah.
Texted Stoops because the story broke that he took the job. Texted Stoops, hey man, congrats. You've done great things in Lexington. Hate to see you leave there, but wish you all the best. And got on a plane, and then I was about 30 minutes into the flight, and then I heard he didn't get the job.
Yeah. So from what I understand, Texas A&M fans are under the impression that they've won a national championship in the last 100 years, and that Mark Stoops was beneath them to be their head coach.
Oh, that you honestly think that's what it was?
Yes, I absolutely do.
Luciano,
yeah,
kind of. Yeah, I mean, it was obviously a little bit of different circumstances, but yeah, I think they revolted, which is crazy because Mark Stoops,
he's a great coach.
He's a very good, and also we don't really know what happened. We're kind of speculating too, but every A&M fan went into panic mode with Mark Stoops. Like it was the worst hire ever. I don't understand why, because what he's done at Kentucky is incredible.
And he's also won 10 games twice as many times as Texas A&M has in the last 20 years.
Mark Stoops, I mean, think about, I look at the college game as almost now become more of haves and have-nots. He's been a have-not his entire time at UK. And look what he's done. I don't know what he's averaged, 8 wins probably a year at UK. No one's ever done that. And you send him down to A&M with those resources and that NIL money and the facilities they have. I'm not saying Mike Elko's not going to do a good job, but if that's how it went down, they thought Mark was beneath them. Man, they should have been thankful that they had a chance to get him. I think he would have done a job there.
I agree.
I do think that Elko is going to be a good coach for an A&M too.
Yeah.
Like I think either way, it was going to be a good thing, but for whatever reason, they're happier with Elko.
As far as a coach out there, I mean, there aren't a lot of big jobs open right now, right? I mean, I think Jonathan Smith going to Michigan State is going to be a really challenging job for him because of everything that's going on. They just finished like a $200 million new facility, which will help like in this new world of the arms races and NIL money. So if they're going to give him a chance to get involved in NIL, I think he has the right blueprint for the culture that I think fits from Corvallis to East Lansing. I think it's very similar, kind of being, he was a second-class citizen to Oregon in that state. He's going to be the same thing in the state of Michigan to the University of Michigan. So I think he understands what it takes. So I think he's going to take some time to kind of clean that image up. But I think he could get it going there. I don't know. Name another job.
Houston's open, and we are Dana Holgerson guys. Unfortunately, they fired Dana. But I feel like that's got to be a pretty attractive opening, right?
Well, it's in the Big 12 now,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's. So I think they've gone from being a have not to now a have. Because of the conference that they're in. And And what's the future really with this 12-team playoff? And remember, we were all kind of speculating that the SEC and the Big Ten is going to be the behemoths and it's going to be everyone else. Are we done? Or is there more realignment coming? Is the Big 12 what it is now? Are they done? What's left? Remember, there's talk about Clemson might join the SEC. Are they going to be able to get out of their contract? So I don't know if we're actually done, but we need to be done, I think, before next season.
I think what's going to happen is going to be similar to how all of the cable, we went to streaming, and now we have all these streaming apps, and now we're bundling streaming apps, which is literally what cable was. I think what we're going to do is we're going to keep realigning until then the Big Ten has a Big Ten West conference, and it's just what the Pac-12 was. Right. And so it's going to just be, we're going to accidentally get right back to where we were, where it's like, oh, that looks exactly like what the Pac-12 was, and that looks exactly like what the Big 12 was.
I'm with you on that. I think at some point we get to like 40 or 50 teams, and we just divide it up into
in region, And then we're like, hey, let's call it the Big 12 and the Big 10 and the Pac-12. Right. It's like, wait, what the fuck?
It's going to be like the NFL. It's going to be the AFC and the NFC, and there'll be divisions within it, and they'll call it those conferences.
Yeah.
We'll be all the way back where we started.
Yeah, which I'm fine with. I'm cool if we got back there because then we can keep some traditional rivalries.
What they should do is relegation, like in soccer, where you have the ability to jump up to that highest division. If you're like a Group of 5 school, you have the ability to jump up. Boom! Now you're basically a Power 5 school, and if you keep stinking, you get relegated right down. Like that to me seems like that would be a very fun thing to watch. But yeah, I think we're going towards. There's going to be like 2 super conferences, and then those super conferences. Like the AFC and NFC will have the divisions.
Yeah, which I'm fine with. All right.
And I think the bigger issue, guys, is I think they're going to have to break away from the NCAA, or they're going to have to restructure the NCAA, or just put the big football division in its own category. And then they're going to have to partner with the players in some way, kind of a collective bargaining agreement. And the reason I say that is they're not making any headway at all when it comes to controlling NIL or portal or any rules at all. They're going to have to put some rules together, partner with the players, let the players have some representatives, either former players or current players or a mix of the two, and then break away from the NCAA, create your own governing body, and then find out, okay, hey guys, players, are you cool with NIL being this rule? Okay, sign off on that. Transfer portal, let's have these dates and that dates, great. Okay, revenue sharing, ESPN, Fox money, whoever's putting money in, players get this much, the leagues get this much. Going to have to get there at some point. Otherwise, I just don't see how they sustain the model that we're currently on. I don't think it's practical.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I agree. So last thing on college football, then maybe we could talk a little NFL.
Sure.
What is the ultimate doomsday scenario? I just mostly like saying doomsday scenario.
Okay.
But
doomsday scenario, the ultimate is Alabama beats Georgia. Michigan, they're not going to lose to Iowa. Michigan's going to win. Whatever happens Friday between Oregon and Washington, if you want doomsday, give Oregon a win because they have the one loss. Throw in a Florida State win.
How about a
loss?
How about a narrow win
for Florida State?
Yeah, like a 1 point.
Yeah, last
win.
second field goal.
Yeah.
Last second field goal with a backup quarterback. Didn't look great. Sloppy game. Louisville just lost to Kentucky. Takes them a last second field goal with a backup quarterback to beat Louisville. And then Texas ends up winning in an ugly game against Mike Gundy and the mullet and against Oklahoma State. That's I think the biggest doomsday that you could have.
And then on record, who would your Final Four be? Just so that we can have some fan base
under that doomsday.
Yeah, they get mad at you.
I'm not going to answer that until it's You answer that.
Okay. Under that situation, let's see who are the
because
biggest
they hate
fan
me
bases
no matter
on
what
Twitter.
I say.
I got Michigan. I've got
that's an easy one.
Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I've got.
You're putting them on the table there.
I got Texas, and then I got
Oregon or Florida State.
No, you know what? I'm going to go no SEC. I'm going to get everybody mad at me. I'm going to say Michigan, Oregon, Texas, and Florida State. There we go. How about that?
Ooh, I like it.
Just to make the most people mad. And then you know what?
So
and then the SEC fans can take the SEC championship, and they'll say that's really the national title.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I want to hear what you say, Big Cat, because I think Michigan would be a lock.
Yep.
I think Texas would be a lock. I think Oregon would be in, and I think the debate would be between Alabama and undefeated Florida State.
I will. I know that the idea of the 4 best teams right now, I will stand on it forever that the game should matter, and I think that actually it actually pisses off the least amount of people because you can just go back to it and be like, look, games matter,
Yeah.
that's it,
Yeah.
games matter.
So would you put Texas in?
Games matter. Texas has to go over Alabama.
Would you put Alabama in? Because games matter. They just beat the best team in the country.
Right, but if you're saying Florida State's undefeated,
yeah,
I'd put Florida State in. I'll go
leave Alabama. You'd leave Alabama.
Yeah, or you could have the debate about Oregon and Alabama there, and be like, well, Alabama just had the best win of the season.
But this is dead serious. One thing to remember is when the committee does this is actually in their handbook. When they're evaluating teams, they when they get to what they call a cluster, and this what we're describing as a cluster, they don't weigh one more than the other. Remember that. So like head to head doesn't outweigh conference champion.
Yeah.
So like they look at head to head. That's one of the things they take into consideration. They look at common opponent. It's another thing they take into consideration. Conference champion. That's something that goes into consideration. So there's like 4 or 5 things that they look at that if you get to those cluster of teams, they find differentiator. Like, let's give Texas gets the head-to-head against Alabama. Alabama's a conference champion. Texas is a conference champion. And then at the end of the day, if they say, you know what, we just think Alabama's better, then they would say the cluster thing doesn't matter. Alabama would go ahead. So, but that just gives you an idea.
Yeah. That would piss people off because you could be like, oh, Alabama's better. Well, here's 34-24 in Tuscaloosa.
Right.
I understand the cluster tiebreaker thing, but also it sounds like a lot of different ways to try to figure out if Alabama is better than Texas because they beat a lot of teams that aren't Texas.
But look at Oregon and Washington. Oregon lost to Washington.
Right.
And they're a 10-point favorite. They're a 10-point favorite this weekend in their rematch.
Yeah.
To go by games matter, Washington beat Oregon. If they didn't have this rematch, your guys' logic would be Washington should go in over Oregon because they're a better team and they beat them head to head. And Vegas says Oregon's not only a better team, they're a 10-point better team.
Yeah.
So see what I'm saying? It's
the weird thing for Texas is it actually would have benefited them if BYU had beaten Oklahoma State on Saturday, so they could have had a rematch against Oklahoma. And I do think that helps a lot when you can avenge your one loss and do it convincingly. It kind of erases it. So
I just miss the days when somebody would go in the back room and like press a button, and then a computer would be like, "Texas is better."
Yeah,
they're in the computer,
Texas and USC.
I don't even think those computers existed. I think it was just guys in a room.
The Sagarin ratings.
Yeah. Oh, I remember. Listen, I remember when I first found the Sagarin ratings in USA Today, and I was like, "Did I just find the cheat code to winning all the money? Like, I just take the team that's favored by more points and like has the
the higher rating." Drive you crazy though, dude. Because it'd be like. Ohio State just beat Wisconsin, or Wisconsin beat Ohio State, and Ohio State still ranked ahead of them the next week.
I know. It's the best, though.
They brought chess into the equation somehow, the ELO chess.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really did feel like a genius when you were reading
Yeah, when I found that, I really was like, oh, my God, I found the holy grail. I just got to take the team rated higher. This is going to be great.
We're going to get back to Herbie in a second, but he's being brought to you by The Farmer's Dog. My dog Blake loves The Farmer's Dog. He eats it twice a day. He's grown like a weed. He's super healthy. And most importantly, he absolutely loves his food. Can't get enough of it. The results of switching your dog's food from kibble to fresh can seem like magic. When a senior dog starts acting like a puppy again and the pickiest of eaters can't wait until dinner time, you might think some spells were cast, but The Farmer's Dog doesn't use any sorcery. They don't use any secret ingredients. They make their food fresh. It's just science. The Farmer's Dog makes and delivers fresh, healthy dog food. It's developed by vets, nutritionally balanced, and made from real, healthy ingredients to human food safety standards. He loves this stuff. He really can't get enough of it. He's doing so good on The Farmer's Dog. Stella also eats The Farmer's Dog. They both love it. The official dog food, a part of my take. Traditional dry and wet dog food options are highly processed. They can use much lower ingredients than they claim to, and they're extremely difficult to portion accurately. But the Farmer's Dog isn't just fresh, high-quality food. They also send the food pre-portioned specifically for your dog based on their unique nutritional needs. For example, Blake's grown. He was a puppy when he first got on the Farmer's Dog. They've upped his calorie intake. They've upped his food amount. All I have to do is wait for the mail. It arrives to my door. I open up the packages, put them in the freezer, defrost them, and then I just open them up for them. Don't have to worry about portion size. It's very, very easy. I love the Farmer's Dog. Get 50% off your first box of fresh, healthy food when you go to thefarmersdog.com/PMT. Plus, you get free shipping. Just go to thefarmersdog.com/PMT. Get 50% off. That's thefarmersdog.com/PMT. Hey, Prime members, did you know that you could be listening to this podcast episode and all Barstool Sports podcasts on Amazon Music ad-free, simply included with your Prime membership? All Amazon Prime members also get access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts. You can enjoy shows like Part of My Take, Spittin' Chicklets, and many more. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app or visit amazon.com/barstool23. That's amazon.com/barstool23. And now, here's more Herbie.
All right, I have one last question. We'll do a little NFL. Rollback question, rhoback.com, promo code TAKE, 20% off your first purchase, Q-zips, polos, hoodies, joggers, shorts. Okay, so Thursday Night Football. So this is a question. We are big Al Michaels guys. And my question really is, does Al hear any of the outside noise of being like, oh, Al doesn't have the same enthusiasm? I thought he brought it for Black Friday. So does he hear it? Because I love Al. I feel like he's someone who's had so many seminal moments as a sports fan he has called that I will always have reverence for him. But does he hear when people are like, oh, he doesn't have any juice, he's not, he's kind of mailing it in?
So there are a lot of layers here. NFL football, even in a primetime setting, and Thursday Night Football, we've had a great schedule this year. We've had some great games. I find myself, like if you listen to me call the Florida State game or this weekend when I'm calling, I'm standing the whole game. Fowler is standing the whole game. There's energy that's just unparalleled in these college atmospheres. You know, whether you're at a place like your spot in Madison or JMU or Columbus or wherever you are, you get caught up in the moment that you're performing in. And I think Al, when he would do Thursday night or Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football, those games were massive. You know, you're doing big games and your voice projects based on the setting that you're in. And these Thursday night games, they're good. They're good atmospheres, but I don't think they're at the level of a Sunday night game or when I'm doing these Saturday night games. So I think your voice always matches with what you're doing. I think everyone is holding the Jacksonville game, the playoff game last year, against him. I didn't work with him in that game. I think it was Tony Dungy did. And they got a lot of criticism after that game. And I think it's almost like, you know, social medias, they're using that as a narrative. And they're just using that. And one time in the Indy-Denver game, he talked about what a shitty game it was that we were doing.
It was.
It's almost like they're using those two examples to just say, Al Michaels hates Thursday night. Al Michaels has lost it. And as a guy sitting next to him, I'm like you. I'm sitting next to Al Michaels. Like it'd be like you sitting next to him. I'm his biggest fan of all time, going back to the 1980 Olympics. And to be working with him is very surreal. I've noticed that Al Michaels is very much like me. When the game warrants excitement, he brings excitement. When the game is kind of flatlined, and let's face it, not just Thursday night. There are a lot of NFL games that are flat. I mean, last night's game sucked.
Yeah.
I mean, it's where the NFL is right now. There's about 10 teams that get you on the edge of your seat, and there's about 20 to 22 teams that are just kind of trying to find an identity, whether it's injuries or whatever it might be. So I think Al hears it. He disagrees with it. He's really enjoying, I think, our crew and what we're doing and what we have to work with on Thursday night. You know, to be at his age, and I marvel at what he does. I'm not just telling you guys that to talk. A producer's talking in his ear. He's always recognizing and IDing typically the right guy every time. At his age, I'm blown away by it. I'm not just saying that to defend the guy. I'm being honest with you guys. So he hears the noise. I don't think he's like, I'll show them. I'm going to really bring it this week. He's definitely not doing that. He has more of an FU attitude about it than I'm going to show them. So he thinks it's a bunch of bullshit. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. And I think it's just a narrative that social media is kind of running with.
You know what it is? It's that the games are so bad very frequently on Thursday nights that
not Thursday nights.
Yeah, right. But
all of it.
But since it's a standalone, and if a game's bad and standalone, we need somebody to be angry at.
Yeah.
So then people are just like taking out their frustration on Al, like, Al, make this shitty game more entertaining for me. Why can't you do that? But no, I agree. I don't think that, like, Al Michaels is actually a good representation of what we're feeling on the couch if you're watching a game that doesn't have you on the edge of your seat. And when you have a good one, I still feel like he's been really, really good.
Yeah, and you're right, Herbie. The product overall, there's been some really tough games to watch. And, like, that's just the reality of it.
But dude, talk to Troy and Joe. I mean, he and I text. I mean, it's just, it's not, and I know it's because I go back. I remember I watched Thursday Night Football and they had the uniforms on, and it was just always like a C or a D game. We've really, if you looked at our schedule in August and you looked at what we ended up having, like you looked at that Miami New York Jets game. We got Aaron Rodgers and Tua. This is back in August. We're like, holy shit, what a great game. And Joe Burrow going against Lamar Jackson. I mean, we've had so many games. Even New England and Pittsburgh, who we have in a couple of weeks, you're thinking, boy, this schedule is going to be great. And it's turned out where we got a ton of injuries. Not us, the league.
The league, yes.
Troy gets a lot of games like this as well. So it is what it is. It's where the NFL, unfortunately, is. I think my take on it is a lot of quarterback injuries, a lot of offensive lineman injuries, a lot of dominant defensive linemen, and a lot of really poor offensive football is kind of where we are right now as a league. So it's what it is.
You're right. It's a lot of circumstance. We have Monday Night Football next week is Bengals Jaguars. We thought that game was going to be incredible. Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. Guess what? Now we're watching Jake Browning, and it's like, okay, the juice is kind of out of it. So it does feel like the NFL goes as the quarterbacks go, and when there's a cluster of quarterback injuries, you see it in the product.
Yeah.
So you got the Cowboys on Thursday. Are you one of the media members that's going to gas up the Cowboys? Do you think that they could be Super Bowl champions? Could they win the Super Bowl?
If they play the way they have the last 3 weeks, now they haven't played anybody great. Like, we're going to find out about Dallas in the next few weeks because their schedule's about to get real. But right now, you could argue that Dak's playing the best that he has in his career. And number two, Mike McCarthy calling plays. I think there's a rhythm right now. They have balance. They can run. They can throw. The defense with Dan Quinn right now. I mean, there's a lot there to like. But I think everybody wants to see them play against the big boys and see how they do in the coming weeks. But right now, man, it's one of the better teams. In an NFL kind of watered down, they definitely stand out. In the NFC, you got Philly, you got San Fran, Detroit, if they can get back to playing the way they were, and you got Dallas. I mean, those teams right now are definitely standing out.
I think Jerry might have lifted the curse when he allowed Jimmy Johnson to the Ring of Honor. I feel like that was – I'm a big curse guy. I feel like that was a combo breaker.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's fair.
All right, well, Herbie, always great to have you on. You love football just as much as we love football. It's going to be great to watch, Florida State maybe get in on Saturday night, and we're going to watch Cowboys and Seahawks on Thursday. You're the busiest guy in the world. I did have – I forgot. I should have brought this up because I can't be a fraud.
You don't like the map thing?
Yeah, the map thing. Yeah. So it's not that I don't like it. Listen, we're lucky enough to travel first class as well, or private plane as well for some of these shows. It's not really that taxing a travel when you get to fly private. It isn't. You get to show up, you get on the plane, you get to put your feet up, you got snacks.
The travel is not the actual in the plane travel.
Right.
I'll take that.
Do you have Wi-Fi on your private plane? This is now the least relatable conversation of all time to be like, hey, let's compare. Because we don't have, I would say that we don't usually have good working Wi-Fi. That actually is a crisis.
It's the hardest job in America.
Yeah.
It's hit or miss.
Okay.
Let me just tell you this week, because I'm not complaining. I'll just tell you this week what I do. So I'm here at my house Monday and Tuesday. I fly to Dallas Wednesday. The prep is the worst part of my job. The actual travel and the games, that part is enjoyable, but the prep is what really kind of bogs you down. But Wednesday to Dallas, call the game Thursday night. Right after the game, I fly to Las Vegas. And when I land, I call Oregon, Washington that night.
Okay.
Right after that game, we get over around midnight. I'll fly to Atlanta. And I right when I land, I think I might go to the hotel. I might just go to the set, and I'll do College Game Day from 9 to 12. And then Sunday we do the selection show. So
okay, that's a pretty big week of work. Okay, fine,
yeah,
fine.
I don't think it's the actual flight. And Ben's with me, so I'm really spoiled.
Yes.
So I got that going for me too.
Yeah, it was a very nitpicky thing of me, I have to admit. I was just like, I don't like to tweet. I don't really know why.
There was one tweet
you know what you should do, dude? You should come with me one week. You'd love it.
No, what I need to do is I need to do one of those for me where it's just like the art is going from like to the bathroom to the refrigerator back to the TV. It's like, look at this. Look at my Saturday. What a shit show.
That would be classic.
Yeah.
By the way, Dave, what's the guy's name? The big Ohio State guy that Dave
Big Ev. Yeah.
I felt so bad for the big
It's tough.
fella.
It's tough for him. He just gets
Dave, the one I saw where he's in the car.
Yeah.
Just and the big guy is just dejected, like looking out the window. And Dave is just priceless with his like real quiet, didn't even say anything.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's tough.
Yeah.
I hate to see you like this. I just hate
Ev's talking about like, why couldn't I just been like a fan of cars?
Yeah, mechanic.
Work on car motors my entire life.
The good news, the good news for Big Ev is if he keeps losing, he has a job for life because Dave will just keep you around to do that every single year.
Oh my God, that is too good.
Yeah, yeah, it was quite a day.
One day you boys are gonna let me come hang out. And wherever your war room is.
Yes, come watch some football.
Come hang out there.
Are you familiar with Frank the Tank?
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think about Frank?
He's a Mets, Dolphins. Who are his
Mets,
teams?
Dolphins,
Notre Dame,
Devils, Notre Dame.
Is he
Knicks,
being real?
Oh yeah.
Is he
Seton
being
Hall.
serious when he gets dejected?
Too real.
Oh yeah.
It's all too real.
Yeah.
Like when he does all that, that's dead serious.
Dead serious. Dead serious. He lives and dies with his teams. That's what we love. That's why we watch.
And just know if you're calling a Dolphins game and they're losing, Frank is
I'm
cussing you up and down
Yeah,
while he's biting a hole through his shirt, being like, fucking Kirk Herbstreit.
Yep. It's true. SVP always laughs at him.
Please,
about the
hey,
Mets.
That's mean when he does that.
Yeah.
Bring me in for the postseason.
Yes.
I have to come in there and I just want to yell at people and get yelled at.
Yes.
Actually, Frank needs to have
Open
one of those
invite.
maps of how he gets around the country.
Yes.
That would be interesting.
All right. Well, Herbie, thank you as always, man. We love you. Appreciate you coming on, and good luck with your week this week.
All right. You got it, man.
Good to see you, Herbie. Kirk Herbstreit was brought to you by Viator. Hank and I used Viator this summer after we moved to Chicago. Went out on a nice riverboat, took a river cruise. Viator is a website and app where you can book travel experiences like pub crawls, boat tours, museums, and more. They offer everything from simple tours to extreme adventures. You know what? I saw something the other day. I saw an ad for a Chicago tour thing. I'm going to see if Viator can hook it up. Max, I think I told you about it. You remember that? Yeah, I might have to check out Viator, see if they have it on there. With over 300,000 bookable experiences in 190 countries, there's something for everyone. They offer everything from simple tours to extreme adventures. Plus, Viator's travel experiences have millions of real traveler reviews, so you have the information that you need to book the best activities for your trip. When you book a travel experience with Viator, there's always flexibility, there's support, you have free cancellation, payment options, and 24/7 service. Download the Viator app now. Use code Viator10 for 10% off your first booking. One app, over 300,000 experiences you will always remember. Do more with Viator. Download the Viator app and use code Viator10. That's Viator10, 10% off your first booking. This episode is also brought to you by Part of My Cheesesteak and their brand new menu. It's a new menu. It's going to have your mouth watering in no time. You've seen us in stadiums from coast to coast. You've seen us all over the internet. You've seen us in Uganda. Part of My Cheesesteak is international, and they've got a brand new menu, including the chicken bacon ranch cheesesteak. It is so good. They've also got chicken tenders, which are fantastic too. But the chicken bacon ranch cheesesteak is built different. It's delicious. It's filling. It's perfect for game day. Whether you're a cheesesteak aficionado, a finger food enthusiast, or simply someone who values the art of comfort cuisine, this menu has something for everyone, including the Big Cat Combo. Order now on partofmycheesesteak.com, also available on Uber Eats.
Okay, time for Guys on Chicks. Also, Friday, huge episode. We have Cam Newton and Brandon Marshall in studio. They're in Chicago right now. If you're listening to this and you want something to do on Wednesday night, tonight, I Am Iconic tour at the Cittery Winery. There's still tickets. They're doing a live podcast. We might have to go because I think we're friends with them now.
You can ask Cam anything.
Yeah,
Cam is an open book.
yes. So great interview with them coming on PMT on Friday. But I think we might be friends with them now, so we might have to go.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking about doing something, it was an awesome interview, and they're going to put on a great show.
I agree. I want to print out all my old blogs about Cam Newton and just hand deliver them to him.
Yes. All right, Guys on Chicks. Hank.
I've been dating my boyfriend for about 1.5 years now and recently discovered he pisses in a body armor bottle at night. His bathroom is literally 5 steps away from his bed, and I don't understand why he urinates that instead of the toilet like a normal man. Last week I stayed over at his place for Thanksgiving, and I couldn't help but stare at the body armor bottle next to his bed. I threw it out, and he got mad at me. Is this a normal guy thing, or does my boyfriend have issues?
You can't touch a piss jug like that.
This is a very, very normal issue. And it's not our fault as guys. We learned this habit. I don't know if you went to college, but you go to college and you have to do this because sometimes your bathroom is not close to your dorm room.
Or if you're, I know that I was on the bottom bunk, but there was a bunch of my friends who had top bunks, and then you have to walk all the way down the hallway. It's like, yeah, you need a piss jug.
Exactly. And the act of waking up and walking down the hallway makes you awake.
Yeah.
You can't get back to sleep after a good piss.
Yeah. No, piss jugs play. As long as it's designated piss jug.
Yeah,
that's the only thing. It has to be.
Is there an age limit on piss jugs?
No,
because
you actually all age 2 piss jugs. When you get old and you're like in hospice care, you use piss jugs again.
Yeah, it's diapers and piss jugs.
What's your problem with piss jugs, Hank? Sounds like you're judging. You have judgy eyes.
I don't have a problem with piss jugs. I just think that you guys even said yourself that, you used to use piss jugs, but now you don't. I feel like it's one of those things you age out of.
Well, I
just took a piss. Otherwise, I would piss in this jug right in your face.
I personally have not used a piss jug in probably 5 years.
I have not used
No,
a
that's
piss
not true.
jug
That's
in
not
a
true.
month.
Road trips count.
That's different, though. Mobile piss jugs are a lot different than stationary in your house.
Okay, I'm going to start using a piss jug in this studio.
I might just pee right now.
Yeah, I'm going to start using a piss jug in this studio. I just took a huge piss. There's no better feeling than a big fucking piss. Just ripping a huge pisser.
Powerful.
Oh.
I like when it feels powerful.
And you're just like, you feel like a new man. He's pissing.
Well, not yet. I'm just
Oh,
got
okay.
a belt.
All right, next one.
Hello, Fat Cat, Poor FT,
What the fuck?
Cake Marsh, and Big Belly Maxi Boy.
Poor?
I recently found out
Vacations with David Tepper.
that my boyfriend of 4 months still has Tinder on his phone. He gave me his phone while he was driving to send a text, and I had to snoop, obviously.
Oh, no.
He hasn't sent a message since we've been dating, but he's an attractive guy, so he still gets messages from other girls he doesn't reply to. When I confronted him, he said he kept it as a confidence boost and a reminder that he's got options if I get too clingy and or annoying. Should I break up with him, or is this normal guy behavior?
I think you should break up with him.
Yeah, I mean, you can't.
You don't talk about options if you're dating someone.
Yeah, but you got to keep
Correct.
your options
One
open,
option.
right?
Maybe he doesn't think you're dating.
But this is like if you're a GM of a team, like, yeah, that guy's untradeable, but make an offer.
Yeah, like I went on one dating app date, and I was like, I'm never doing this again, but I still have it.
Right.
And sometimes I just check it just to see.
There you go. There's a piss right in
Piss jug
face.
right in your
Piss jug.
face, Hank.
The
Does this trigger you? Am I triggering you? Are you mad?
like if Patrick Mahomes is untradeable, but what if someone offered a lifetime of #1 picks?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, everyone's expendable.
Right. Everyone has a price
Especially after 4 months.
after 4 months. Yeah, 4 months is still that's still in the
Yeah.
zone of feeling it out.
How long?
And if he hasn't sent any messages, like
Yeah, he just forgot to delete.
also who deletes apps?
I think
How many,
Tinder is one of those that I think the youths make a big deal about when it's officially official. Like, I have removed Tinder from my phone.
Yeah, I actually, Hank, I've been thinking about cleaning up my phone because I have so many apps. I download stupid games and all this shit. I don't know where to start. I want to be one of those people who has shit like organized on their phone, but I can't.
No chance. My phone is just, it's like a Jackson Pollock pane, just apps scattered everywhere. Hank,
There's
you want to hold on
shit.
to this for me?
Okay. We're hearing someone.
No.
I don't think Jake, they didn't close the door fully. That's why. Yeah, it's still kind of open. Okay. Next question.
Hi, guys. I'm running a college football pick'em for my office, and we are in our last week. My company's president is currently leading the season standings. Looks like he's going to win the pool. His son is also in the pool, and neither him nor his son have paid me the $130 entry fee. How can I ask the president to pay for the pool, or should I just cover him and his son's buy-in and pay him the full amount? Thank you for your help, and go Ravens.
I think you have to send an email to the entire pool being like, hey, some people, including those at the very top, have not paid yet. If you don't pay, then you are not eligible to win.
If he is going to win, though, the other option, you could just give him the cash minus his entry fee and his son's entry fee.
It's the principle of the thing, though.
That is fucked up.
You got to pay.
Yeah, you have to pay.
Have to pay.
Have to pay.
I think you got to public shame.
You got to pay to play.
You got to say,
You got to pay to play.
hey, buddy, you got to pay up, pony up. You're in this pool just like everybody else.
Being cheap. Do you need a loan? You say that to your boss.
Yeah. Hey,
I know times are tough. You need a little help.
I can float you. Have you seen the price of milk these days?
Mm-hmm.
Sleepy Joe got you down?
Mm-hmm.
I'll cover you if you need it.
All right, Hank, last one.
Me and my boyfriend are going to move in together in May. I've been trying to convince him that we need a dog. He's not fully convinced he might be too much work/money while also just moving in together. But I'm a teacher, so I have summers off, so I think it'd be the perfect time to get a dog. I have a while to convince him. Any tips? P.S. I would just get my own dog, but I want the full summer to train him.
Is this Max? Are we talking about Max?
No,
Is there a house? Is there a house for the dog too?
Here's the reality of it, and this is fine because you should get the dog because having a dog is awesome. In every dog ownership situation with a couple, there's one person who it's kind of their dog a little bit more. That's okay. That just means you're probably going to have to take care of the dog a little bit more because he wasn't the one who was like, we need a dog. You were the one who's like, we need a dog. So if you know that going in, then get the dog because he'll fall in love with the dog. He'll start helping out with the dog. But to start, it will be like you'll get blamed for a couple things being like, you wanted the dog. But it will be fine. Get the dog.
I think now is the perfect time to do it, though. If you're a teacher in the summers, this is what summers are for now.
Yeah.
You got to take advantage of that time. Or you could like divide responsibilities, draw a line down the center of the dog. He takes care of the mouth. You take care of the butt and the piss, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Get the dog.
Get the dog.
Get the dog.
No one's ever regretted getting a dog. In fact, every family, every person out there knows somebody.
No, what about Cujo?
Cujo's great. Great dog.
Okay.
But every family knows someone where like the dad did not want a dog.
Yeah.
And the mom gets a dog. And at first the dad's like, this motherfucking dog. And then by the end, the dog and the dad are like inseparable.
Yeah, of course. That's how it always works.
Have you guys seen The Drop?
No. Oh, yes, I have.
I'm worried.
Great movie.
I just started watching it last night. I'm halfway through.
I can't remember. Well, no, James Gandolfini does die in real life.
Okay. I assumed.
Okay.
I'm just worried about the dog.
No, that's a great movie. I can't remember. I think you're okay.
Also,
I think there's a website that says, does the dog die?
oh, really?
I'm
that's
pretty
a great
sure.
website. We
Yeah.
need that. If you're thinking about getting a dog, sign a pre-pup. In case you guys break up, figure out who gets the dog afterwards.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Okay. Great show, boys. Numbers?
18.
17.
71.
3.
8, and Cam Newton 1-1.
You wanted one? Okay.
Yeah.
20.
3.
I tried to give him 2, but he wanted
62. 62. 62. What are you looking at, Max?
Nothing. It's just going to be.
How's your toe feeling, bitch?
Toe actually feels almost back. Almost back.
Yeah, I saw during the producer bowl, Max was too injured to play bocce ball.
That's not true. I said I would have played bocce ball.
I did too. You were like gritting on the
No,
sidelines.
well, there was another event that got axed that I was ready to perform in.
Yeah, everyone please subscribe to
Stool
Stream's YouTube because we're going to start doing a ton more of those.
Mhm.
It's going to be great.
Oh yeah.
And it's going to be great.
Oh yeah.
Max, you look like a bitch jumping up and down.
Well, I didn't want to get my foot stepped on,
Oh, okay. Huh.
Love you guys.
but I still wanted to celebrate with my squad.
love,
Boys.
love you guys. Love you guys.